Good afternoon, morning, whenever you are deciding to watch this broadcast. You are here live within one of the final times of League Zero Grand Finals within the Novice Division. We've gone here from long and wide to see Wisdom Academy versus Rio Redemption finally end it out to see who gets that title. Will Wisdom Academy get the back-to-back champion and be the kings even though everyone hates Marsupial? Or will Rio finally have that redemption they've been long waiting for? I'm username_intel here, joined by your podcast host of the Novice Division, Mr. Corbs. How are you feeling today? We are both here on two different spectrums.
Well, I first of all, I had to rush back from work, so I had to throw something on last minute here. I mean, I don't say I did too bad, to be honest with you. But honestly, this game. Let's be honest. Ever since the season started, this is kind of the grand finals we've been expecting. Whether Wisdom was number one or Rio was number two, it didn't matter, to be honest with you. But this is gonna be a great game here. And personally, if you watch the countdown today. Sorry, it came out a little later. Ackery was having issues. I did predict Rio to win a 4-3. However, I knew that Spongy Cheese, at the time, I knew Spongy Cheese was not going to be there. But lo and behold, he is going to be here now, but he is not going to be starting this first map.
Yeah, quite possibly, and that's something interesting. I think this is kind of a weird idea of just Rio versus Wisdom, because you're 100% right. Ever since the start of the season, it's always been these two teams. Geometric and Fortunate Sons always had to sit in the back, and that's a bit of just the unfortunate thing of their teams weren't doing well at the start. Rio had a lot of credit going in, especially having some League Zero veterans help coach, like such as Infected, who is a Contenders player, and Wisdom Academy, obviously a part of the Marsupial brand and winning the previous season. And then week one, Wisdom Academy loses. They didn't have enough players to play or really to compete. And then those 2 weeks after, they kind of win.
Yeah, and the big reason why Wisdom Academy lost that first game to Rio was because, first of all, P-Bach was playing on a laptop that was like 30 FPS and not plugged in as well. So that's basically not even there playing. And also, Wisdom was down half their starting lineup as well. They were down Rockcrafts and I believe Spongy Cheese. This was before they acquired Next. So basically that was two very big playmakers for them as well. And I mean, you can kind of count P-Bach not being there because playing on a laptop, it's tough. However, P-Bach has definitely showed up these last few weeks and has been a phenomenal main tank for Wisdom. And honestly, watching Skylar as well has been phenomenal because Titanic was arguably going to be one of top two or even number one, the best flex support in the league. And Skylar has fulfilled their own here on this flex support role. So props to them. And Golden Apple guy has been consistent all season. And Rio Redemption, they have been great all season as well. Trigger Happy. He was just implemented into the lineup here a few weeks ago when they did play Geometric for the final time, and they just kept him in ever since. So, honestly, pretty interesting call to make that decision. Kind of last minute, but honestly, it's been working for them. So, it's going to be pretty much a clash of the Titans. So this is going to be fun to watch.
Is a center idea. Debatably, at least when it comes to player statistics and all that, not a lot of people like the Marsupial, especially during week one where everyone kind of underrated their team, said they were going to do bad, and now look at them all the way at the finals, getting accused of different things, and it's a little funny because I remember having a private talks with Spongy Cheese. I wanted to get his idea. And he had said, watch us be in the finals and then people complain. And that's a little bit impressive. Although I'm not expecting Rio to kind of end this with their backs wide out and they're scared. They're definitely a bit aggravated of losing their last two back-to-back games against them, especially after the intermediate grand finals match where Double Cap and Tenacity went head-to-head in an intense game. I want to be able to see these teams go the mile. However, I don't want to see them ruin Pendy's sleep schedule.
That's very true.
Especially when we're starting out on Lijiang Tower.
I know. And the thing that's exciting about Lijiang Tower is you're not going to see too much double shield unless the team is an absolute I guess you can say Arisabot. So the thing about Lijiang Tower is you have the control center, which heavily favors Brawl because it is super close range. You do have Gardens, which does favor the Winston comps a little bit more, or Ball for that matter, because of the high mobility and very, I guess you can say, open-ish kind of space, but there's a lot of natural cover that they can weave behind as well. And then last but not least, the classic night market where you just take the Sim TP up top and just have your team brawl it out from there. And it looks like both teams are ready. So here we go. We are starting the grand finals on everyone's favorite map, Lijiang Tower. And go for it.
But yeah, we are having an interesting take as we start out on a map that makes the difference. Yeah, as we make the difference, don't even, the chat can't see it, don't even worry about it. As we see them getting prepared, we're on one of those specific maps that kind of base in momentum. This is a really good one to start out because it doesn't make too much of a difference as they continue moving forward. It's specifically for teleporting and for Doomfist, and I think having Next on here is a bit worrying. I think Sergeant Pepper works better, and Spongy is a way better Symmetra comparatively to Sergeant Pepper's, and RQT and Polar's been absolutely nuts throughout this Doomfist season.
Yeah, Polar has been insane on this Doomfist, and RQT as well on the Symmetra. Both these players have made this comp work really, really well, as well as TIE Fighter. TIE Fighter's there just to bail anyone out, it feels like, as well. And it looks like, and there we go. We're going to see both teams run the exact same mirror comps. Dooms will be flying, Rhymes will be charging, and yes, here they come.
Yep, they're moving forward in this fight, looking to bring in that damage. Polar's trying to be able to get them, but the Immortality is able to save them very early. However, it looks like Skylar's going to be the one going down first. Rushcraft able to trade out by managing to find out Polar. They're still not being able to find any direct targets, but that punch from Nexus being able to punch out Gordo. RQT's found without that Symmetra, they don't have the sustain nor damage to be there in the fight. Trigger Happy can do as much as they want, but it seems that Wisdom Academy are going to be winning this fight due to a lack of focus.
Yeah, honestly, Wisdom Academy just didn't, or excuse me, Rio just looked like they separated right off the bat. And interestingly enough, one thing I do want to point out is that Peabok went into like the little garden area of the map, and he was separated from his team for a bit. And Rio could have definitely capitalized on the opportunity of them having a lack of shield by forcing out Immortality early and then using using one of their own just to play aggressively. Great rotation coming out from Rio here. They did bait Wisdom just back to point, so that created a lot of space just with that teleporter.
Yeah, but now this is where the fight comes in. These Doomfisters are wanting to take each other out. Next does have the advantage because the support line's there to go into appeal. But it looks like Next following up the map. A true bad player in the right. They use his
what a shatter.
But the shatters hit them to look to take the advantage. The Window's looking to help. Combined with P-Match's shatter and the Diva Bomb, they're able to make some room. But that slam is there to make it uneven. Looks like we're going to be seeing RQT's Window looking to break up half that damage. Polar's doing an amazing job separating Sergeant Peppers, but he's just able to escape freely. Next returns back into the fight. The power of the Doomfist slams down, able to finish off those last few targets. And once again, they're going to be able to win this fight.
Yeah, and again, this is Rio's lack of target focus. They just wanted to go in guns a-blazing, but the problem is they use 5 ultimates there, and they got 0 value out of it. The good news is, though, they do have TIE Fighter self-destruct to create some resemblance of space for them. And let's see what Rio does to plan this attack. It looks like they will be setting up a teleporter bomb here. Let's see if that catches out Wisdom. It does! It's 5!
They're gonna push in, and they're gonna manage to get an absolute massive 5K. That's what you're looking for, an amazing strategy. And it seems B-Patch just doesn't understand what to do against that. They just got punished.
Yeah, that was honestly a great setup play from Rio. They knew that they had a bit of a disadvantage going into this fight, and they were like, hey, let's pull out some novice strategies and let's just set up a TP bomb. And that it literally got 5, including the DMAC. I would count that as a 6K personal in my books. And yeah, now if you're Wisdom, you're going to use this window to try to create a little bit of space. And yeah, TIE Fighter gets DMAC'd right away, but Next goes down.
Yeah, they're looking to push forward. It seems Polar's able to find out Gag. D-Patch wants to make this even, but those Sim turrets are going to be stopping it from moving into the point. However, that wall, even though they've lost Rockscrap, this is still a winnable fight as they have their main tank to continue pushing in. There's no Sim teleporter to stop them. We see Sergeant Pepper's moving out, and it's going to be hit, but the Shatter combined with the DPS returning in, they're just able to start pumping it in. Gordo is going to return. It's getting sloppy, but he just doesn't have the sustain to continue moving forward. Combined with that terrible window coming in from RQT, it does block their own Sim teleporter, so they will have the respawn advantage, but they're getting the picks, they're getting the value, they're starting to shut them down. Combined with that window last second, they don't have any opportunity to move in.
Yeah, this is And just look at Rio or Wisdom's target focus. They were down so many people that fight, and they just saw Polar going a little bit too deep. They were able to turn around and just absolutely roll him. The good news is Sam Knight is stalling a bit for Rio, and that'll actually get respawn, so they can actually come in maybe with another full fight here, because Lucio is arguably the fastest player on the fastest character on their team. So it's gonna be very interesting to see what they do here. Gordo does have the shatter. Maybe they might even try to do a TP shatter. I wouldn't be surprised to see that.
I wouldn't be too surprised either. We are going to be seeing that sound barrier come in, combined with the shatter, manages to hit Next and a couple other targets, but the counter shatter is even. Next gets traded out, and the bomb's going above them. It breaks down the immortality, and we see Rio using that sound barrier just to help move forward. Trigger Happy is still dangerously low, but it looks like Wisdom Academy don't have the ability to move forward. Their ultimate's used in vain, as the rest of Rio Redemption are starting to get that momentum to push forward and get those values.
Yeah, Rio. Honestly, Rio just really had an ult advantage there, and they use that to the max. And so it looks, and so they will be having that another bomb here, and they also have arguably one of the best ultimates in the game with Sim's Wall. And if it's used properly, it can definitely create a ton of value for them to weave in and out and counter next Meteor Strike, which is coming up here very shortly. Let's see if they try an aggressive bomb here. Yep, there it goes here.
Yeah, look, they want to push in, take that fight early. They're able to get the 2 picks and move forward. It does look like Wisdom Academy don't have any room to take a stall or an extra fight. As Rio Redemption, they're going to be using that charge to take up Next, and they managed to bring this out from the back. Even though that lack of target focus hurt them in the beginning, they're able to bring it in and win the first map of Lijiang Tower.
Yeah, honestly, there, Wisdom did look like the better team, but Rio just used their ult combos perfectly, and that's what really turned that fight for turned the tide for them. And so it looks like and yeah, TIE Fighter came in super clutch for their team. And now they'll be switching this the sim duties over to Polar on the side of Rio Redemption, and we will be seeing 6-man coming out from Wisdom Academy. So if you are Rio, you want to be playing on point because you want to try to minimize that Echo's value. If she tries to get a flank off on you, just turn around, focus her, have D.Va protect your team, and yeah, it's going to be... Honestly, I see the advantage going to Wisdom here because they do have more sustain, and they also have more mobility with their composition compared to Rio just trying to camp on point here and just farm percentage.
And it's also about who decides to engage first. We do see them pushing in and putting in that damage, but they don't really have room to enter in. Look at that. Gordo's, the moment getting pressured, just retreats. They use that immortality early, and Next gets punished for over-investing into that fight. And now we just see them struggling as Gordo's just able to pick off the rest of their team, and it looks like their dive's just not going to be as clean as we hope it was.
Yeah, honestly, that they just played that comp really, really slow. The thing is, they need a farm for Skylar's Coalescence, and they just were like, yeah, no, let's not do that, and they just decided to play aggressive right off the bat. The good news is, though, they are relatively close to their ultimates. However, Polar does have their have the wall here, which is going to be super clutch to split up the rest of the engagement. Speaking of which, there it comes, and they are playing a little bit aggressive on this.
They're looking to take that advantage early and use those ults to kind of push in. The Shatter does manage to find out Next, and they are going to take full advantage of it, as well as picking up Skylar. Now, Wisdom Academy, they don't have any resources to push forward, but Sergeant Pepper still wants to try to stall this and give some type of comeback using that copy, but it's going to be frozen, eventually melted, and there's just nothing you can do.
Exactly, nothing. Yeah, Sergeant Pepper tried to use his ult to turn a fight, which... That's a quality that Rio normally has there. And look at Rio. Rio now has a pretty big ult advantage going into this fight. Yeah, sure, Skylar does have the Coalescence. However, I consider that more of a third ability. And oh, she almost gets moved off the map. That would have been huge. But yeah, here it comes right there. The Coalescence. Another bomb coming out from TIE Fighter.
Yep, doesn't catch anyone though. Bomb used, not find anyone. The Blizzard gets eaten from RQT. Rockstrap showing those skills off. Combined with the Sound Barrier and Sergeant Pepper's aggressiveness, Rio Redemption, they may be winning in the ult economy at this second or millisecond, but they're losing this fight. They just don't have to sustain. The only person really being able there on the point is going to be RQT, but they're just allowing that time bait to go a little higher. The Sim Teleporter is not even up, so they can't even get back as fast as you hope they do.
Yeah, the good news is though with Rio is that they were able to save their sim wall, and that's going to be a huge ult for their next push because they're able to use that I guess you can say more of natural cover because it just has so much HP. They're not going to break it, and they already go on to point. That's actually huge.
Yep, we see that shatter come in from Gordo. Doesn't manage the hit, but it splits them up. The Death Blossom is mostly being kind of messed around. However, Seminite is going to be founded out. And the window is just stuck in the most uncomfortable position. Exclusively, P-Batch is also moving them around. They're just not going to be finding any value. The 2K boop shutting them down. Teleporter was nice, but they'll have another fight to try to again.
Yeah, and they do hit, and Rio does have that Blizzard. However, it's going to be very hard to find value, especially with the composition that Wisdom Academy is running, where they literally have they have a lot of people who can just get out of it. Like Rock can just straight up fly out of it, P-Bot can jump, Gag can amp speed, and Skylar just has fade, and it's super difficult to lock down a single target here with their Blizzard. So I'm very curious to see how Rio will play this.
Yep, we see them pushing forward. The Blizzard's actually going to be able to land this time around, and we see them being able to freeze the consistency. However, Rockstrap throws that bomb in, able to find an RQT, as well as Gag gets the boop onto his counterpart. Their team is struggling to have some format, and these fights are being taken so fast.
Yeah, RQK kind of just walked in front of his team and just got blown up by the Diva Bomb. Interesting little decision there. I guess he tried to go for frags, but yeah, that didn't work out too well in the end. Now they do have a Diva Bomb to work with, but that's about it. They'll be pushing into a beat from Gag, and the good news is that's the only ultimate that Rio would have to deal with for this game, for them. And
Yep,
here comes the bomb.
Forward, using that bomb as an engagement. It gets bubbled, and they use that remake as an opportunity for the damage. But TIE Fighter is down. They're down one, but it's still an opportunity, especially with that shatter evening things up. Oh no, Trigger Happy's gone. They're looking to rotate around the point. The Hainu's able to find out Gag, and the Sound Bay are making sure that they have that peel in. It was just the ultimate they needed. That economy was much more cleaner, and it's allowing them to have one more fight to hold this.
Yeah, and now this is going to be very tough for Wisdom to push back in. The good news is, though, they will be having a Coalescence and also a Primal Rage to work with this final fight. Skylar can definitely farm it up if if her team takes a little bit of poke damage. And next is going to be able to touch. She does get stunned, though, so...
Yeah, but survive.
Oh, that's going to be rough.
Yeah, now they have to move in against B-Patches, Primal, and the Coalescence against that window. The Shatter's done well enough to shut down Skylar and pick him off. Same with Sergeant Pepper. The Blizzard was built up. It's going to be placing them on point. They're struggling just to be able to split together and kind of find some value. It looks like Real Redemption are having the better focus, and Ult kind of being able to shut this down. Next as well, eventually picked off, and we're going to be seeing Real Redemption take the first map on Lijiang Tower.
Yeah, Rio just used their ultimates so well in those final two fights for both of those maps, actually, and they were able just to find so many. And here we go, we got the TP bomb. Let's watch it. Just everyone, moment of silence, please.
Yeah, there's no reason why you don't expect it. That's pretty much Wisdom Academy's moment to say, you messed up. Or just kind of, you have no time to vibe review that. You just kind of bang your head into a wall. Although Gagmate does get that 74% fire MVP card, which is pretty impressive.
Especially for Alicia.
Yeah, this is very impressive starting out, especially for Real Redemption. I think these teams are fairly even, but Wisdom Academy, they're making major mistakes right now, and it's costing them these fights.
Yeah, Wisdom does not look like the same exact team. They are actually subbing out next and putting in Spongy, so this is going to be... they are going to be playing on Hollywood as well, which does favor long-range hit scans a little bit more, especially on second point when you can literally just filter an entire team and you have so many lines of sights on Widowmaker. And so it's definitely just going to be Spongy is well known for the hit scan as well, and no, they're just joking around in chat. And so honestly, that play coming out from Real Redemption with the bomb was perfectly timed, and honestly, this game could be very close to what it is. Pendy is looking like he might be having some connection issues, so give us one.
Don't worry about that. Pendy
okay.
Still streaming, but he left the lobby. Don't even worry about that. We don't have to pay attention to it.
Okay, you scared me.
Yeah, no. As we can start preparing and getting ready for the next map, I think adding in Spongy Cheese is that factor you're looking for. Spongy Cheese has been working with this team since the last season, and he's a phenomenal player. As much as I make fun of him and all that, I really think he is a great DPS player, and he makes the difference between RQT and Polar. I think Next just doesn't have that talent or ability to be able to play like that.
Yeah, honestly, it's just honestly the thing is next and Sergeant Pepper have been a phenomenal DPS line even without Spongy, and it's just and RQT and Polar have just they've been playing with each other all season. So and Rio has been keeping the pretty consistent six all year, except Trigger Happy coming in towards the end of the year. And honestly, I think that's what really did it. I guess you can say because Rio is now so used to playing with each other. They know when to go in, when to disengage, and it definitely did show that last map or whatever.
Yeah, it's a very much a difference. As well as when it comes to the next map, that's where variety and things change. Especially with Titanic being pushed in instead of Skylar, I think that's really what you need. Titanic
Mm-hmm.
is one of, if not the best flex support in my opinion when it comes to the novice division, solely because he has experience on every role in Overwatch, competitively speaking, so he understands how to play as well as his aim is consistent. He's able to play both those roles and be able to be an amazing shot caller to pull the team in. So I think it's
Mm-hmm.
really important for them to kind of play around that and enable each other, especially when we want to go into Hollywood. That will make major differences, and I think that's a map that Wisdom Academy has consistently shown they can kind of hold decent.
Yeah, it's honestly Titanic. They're definitely going to be running this on a Winston comp, and Gag will be on the Brigida. And so I wouldn't be surprised to see Spongy on Ash and Sergeant Pepper on Tracer, or Spongy on Tracer and Sergeant Pepper on Echo, let's say. And so this composition is great for this map because this map has a lot of high ground that you will have to take control of. Winston Diva, great for getting on and great for easily getting off as well. And it looks like Rio will be starting on the attack first. So very interesting to see here. Gordo Gordo is a little bit more known for his Winston rather than his Reinhardt, in my opinion. And honestly, this map should be a field day for him, I guess you can say.
I don't know. I feel like one of Gordos' big issue comparably against BPAC is just his over aggressiveness. That's a lot of times where he gets punished. I mean, on Lee Shang Tower, his Reinhardt looked a lot better than I've seen it throughout the entirety of the season. He was more patient. He didn't try to overinvest. He did go for those unnecessary charges just to be able to get those 1 to 2 picks, and I understand it, but hey, it happens. However, I think that's what Wisdom Academy always look to abuse because they understand their win conditions and they understand. I think the big threat on their team is TIE Fighter. TIE Fighter is he's the best player on their team, hands down. And I think it's just because his brain is absolutely massive. He giga brains. He drinks G Fuel and smokes it as well.
Exactly, dude. TIE Fighter has been looking phenomenal, this last map, and he's been arguably the best off tank in the league. Pending Rockcrafts, of course. I mean, there's a good debate for both of them as well. But TIE Fighter has been super consistent all year. We do ignore that voice crack. It's been a long day at work for me. And honestly, TIE Fighter has been like leaps and bounds above like what I expected him to play like this year. So props on him. And he's just so he's just using his, I guess you can say, Giga Brain to really carry Rio there, especially in that last map and with his bombs. And we will be seeing two Reinhardt comps coming out from both teams, with one team favoring the Sim and May, and the other favoring the the Cowboy and May. And so it looks like it's going to be with the comp. With Rio's composition, they want to play super fast, like use that TP, get into aggressive angles, force Wisdom to make a mistake and capitalize on it ASAP. Whereas Wisdom, they want to kind of take it at a medium tempo. They don't want to play super quick, or they don't want to play super slow. And honestly, that might be the downside if, especially if Rio decides to play at 1,000 miles an hour here.
Yeah, it is somewhat of their playstyle, and I like this Symmetra idea. Gives you that flankability as well as just teleports. Can be very powerful. Makes you have to play differently. They wall it off just barely, and they stop them from being able to teleport. What an amazing rotation, even managing to find out Polar. The rest of the team needing to escape to stop that stagger, but that just feels terrible. You're not going to be able to use that strategy again.
Yeah, and Polar makes a swap over to the Tracer, and the Trigger goes down, and so they will be completely swapping the comp to a double bubble comp. Wouldn't be surprised to see Trigger on the Ana here. And honestly, I'd say this is the best call because if you look at Wisdom's positioning, they are all set up on the high ground here. And again, like I said earlier, this comp is phenomenal for getting high ground. However, they did lose a bit of their ult advantage there for this fight. And Polar is getting chased down by Rockcrafts here.
Yep, it seems they take a quick rotation onto the stairs. They
What a
get hit by
nade.
a massive anti, and Gag goes outside the immortality. They're now extremely low, and that's their punishment. They got a little too eager to punish the Zarya who was going up the stairs, and they just got hit by the anti. They didn't have Rockstrap to eat it.
Yeah, Trigger Happy has been known for his anti-nades on Ana. He's been hitting massive ones all year. And ever since he was implemented into the lineup, his Ana has been insane. Like, even though I remember one time it was Rio versus Fortunate Sons here, and
yeah,
Wisdom is contesting.
They try to have that recontest, but not only were they hit with the anti, but they invest the window into a very difficult comp to kind of move into without a big ability like Blizzard.
Yeah, and they're still sticking onto this composition. I thought they would swap after they tried to play that aggressively, but interesting decision coming out from Wisdom. This is not the Wisdom that I know, I guess you can say. So
I have no idea what you're talking about.
The thing is, Wisdom would usually, after they tried to like use their ults to swing a fight, they usually would swap compositions, and Gag goes down. So this is gonna be a bit of a disadvantage here.
Well, the issue is their comp isn't bad. It still works fundamentally, as they manage to get those picks, and the RQT has to use that copy, but look at that. Easily gets shield. Not even going to be able to get the remake and go back in. Their composition doesn't need to switch when nothing's broken. It's just playstyle difference.
Exactly, yeah. And honestly, that was my bad. Yeah, I was just confused on why Wisdom still used ults there to try and recontest. I mean, yeah, sure, I guess they tried to swing a fight, but they basically only took a 3v6, and they were bound to lose, and they did sacrifice the window. However, they did build it back. Gordo uses...
Yeah, he uses that jump, but he gets frozen and stuck on the bottom. The Nano is able to peel in, plus the...
What a nade!
However, the nade is going to hit Titanic and slowly beat them out. But Rockstrap's bomb puts this back in their favor. Gordo can do as much as he wants and pump in that damage, but the tank line's going to be there to make up the difference. Not even Polar on the Tracer is going to help.
Yeah, Rockcraft's coming in with a clutch bomb. P-Bach as well saved his shatter, so he's gonna have that next fight, and Gag is gonna be building up to another beat here, so that's gonna be huge to counter Rio's aggression. And Rio, they don't have anything to work with. Like, I mean, they'll probably be close to the grab with TIE Fighter, and that's about it. And Wisdom's just doing a great job holding this high ground here, which Rio still has yet to break.
I think the important part is how you engage. Look at that, RQT just tries, he gets punished, and immediately Gordo's not allowed to play on the high ground. They use the high noon from the high ground once again to shut down Trigger Happy, combined with the Shatter, a little bit too eager for me. And the barrier!
The what?
I'm sorry, they push in with the barrier only to save B-Pack, who was down half health. I'm sorry, but Gag is just through this entire map.
Oh, why? You already won the fight, and that was a great, like, Rio just basically did a dry fight, and they were able to force out half the ultimates from Wisdom. Like, that was very confusing, like, especially when you already had the fight won. Yeah, I just don't know what to say. It's just...
Bad idea, that's what I've got to say.
Yeah, that's all I got to say, too.
They used the window on the low ground. Titanic gets punished because he was all alone with no peel. Spongy is able to take out Pillar, and they use that Blizzard to try to win this fight. RQT's on the right hand going in for the charge, but he gets kind of stopped a second before he's able to really get value off of it, and now they're stuck fighting in this corner. On the right side, they do force out that the Primal that doesn't get much, and they're still somewhat in a neutral fight, not really being able to win too much, but the payload's still being moved.
Yeah, and look at this. The respawns did come in from Rio, so this fight is still going on right now. And they are going to get maybe the Baby Diva, which they do. And there comes the grab.
Rio's just fast contest is what's helping them out, especially with Wisdom just absolutely trolling. And yet they still want to use these ults. The Sleep Dart's a little too late, and they lose Trigger Happy.
Again?
Especially with the sound barrier. Hey, this isn't too bad. It's solely to allow them to move in. However, the high noon from Polar is there to contest, and Rockstrap's mech, they have to just drop it out. That bomb is big, it gets RQT, but it trades in Rockstrap. The respawns are in favor of Wisdom Academy combined with the Shatter. It's just a little rude because that Brigida's just not going to be able to live due to the Reinhardt. Gordo's just doing his best to rebuild up that Primo. He has that Nano, so he's going to be pumping in that damage with the resistance. The
nade the nade!
And the Immortality does break it off, so Gordo's just looking to be able to boot them around. They're winning the long-term fight. They don't need to get those picks. They just need to have that stall, and that's entirely what their comp is meant for. Look at Yag just being pressured out and having to escape from the fight. And Rio Redemption, it's still not over. Wisdom Academy is going to return. They're going to be looking to focus down Gordo, who's been the prioriter to hold this point. We do see Titanic using that window to be able to pump in that damage while Polar's on the high ground, but they're not really being able to focus in a single target. RQT's freely walking inside and stops Titanic from playing on the high ground, and yet Gags to come in, put in that pressure, and Rio Redemption in the long run only move the payload. They still lost the fight.
Yeah, that was the most novice fight I've ever seen, to be honest with you. That fight lasted a minute and a half. And they might not be able to touch the point. They're not going to be able to touch the point.
Yeah, no, they aren't
my
going to have any
goodness.
opportunity. They died a little too fast, and the respawns just weren't in their favor. And I'm thinking that's what Wisdom Academy's plan was, just stall. They may have some confidence on their attack. But honestly, I want to throw Gag. I want to throw him in the dumpster. I want to strangle him to death. He sound barriers
I know. What?
at random points.
Yeah. Yeah, this was like the sound barrier timings were very interesting. I mean, yeah, sure, it kind of kept Wisdom in the fight and allowed for them to stall for a bit more, but like, huh?
The second sound barrier I definitely understand, but not the first one. Either way, Wisdom Academy plays around it. I think they need to be having some more focus. RQT and Polar are getting a lot of value by going behind them. Titanic is so focused on DPSing. He doesn't look. We do see their strategy somewhat switching, and it looks like Rio Redemption want to go on a sort of, I'm pretty sure that's going to be Orisa with a Farmer team.
Yeah, this is actually a great composition, because if you pull Wisdom together without like Rock eating it, I mean, yeah, Rock's probably going to eat 99% of the whole set Gordo throws his way. This can be a ton of damage coming out. Like, Orisa's great for poking down the Brawl comp, especially before they engage, and D.Va's kind of there to peel for the backline a bit more because Orisa is a little bit more stationary as a tank. And so it's definitely going to be interesting to see how Wisdom will take this engagement. However, they are rocking the sim, so their mobility is much higher than Rio Redemption's at this point. And here comes all those rockets coming down is doing a lot of damage.
Is RQT's on the one-trick character. Being on that Pharah, they do it when they're pressured. We see them take the rotation and use the teleport kind of as a bait. However, we do see Gag take it, interestingly enough. They're going to be trying to fight that high ground, but that's once again in this poke range to where the Immortality has to get used, and they're going to be able to win off that high ground. Wasn't expecting that, but hey, it worked. RQT's is able to play around, looking to go for that flank, while the rest of Rio are playing really far away. This is good, but Thigh built up that...
Look at RQT's ult charge.
Yep, he's gonna have that barrage, but it's how they play against it. He's setting up, he looks like he want to go on the flank, but they use the teleporter to go behind. The barrage manages to help get Titanic and Spongy, but Polar gets traded out. The window may be there, but they're not really going to be getting much value, especially without their main tank. The Symmetra looking like she wants to be able to try to pump in that damage with the help of their Lucio, but it's just over.
Yeah, honestly, RQT just absolutely carried that fight for Wisdom. He was able to damage so much. Like, he built his ultimate in less than a minute, and this is what he's known for on this Pharah. He builds up his barrages so fast, and yeah, they will be swapping a bit to a 6-man here with Spongy Cheese on the Spongy on the Tracer here. So pretty interesting call here, concerning that they don't really have a long-range hit scan to deal with this Pharah, so they're gonna try to win the ground game, which is going to be relatively difficult as well, considering that they have a plethora of ultimates to push in through.
Yep, you just ignore one side and go after the other. They get the hack on the tie, but Gag gets shot, especially with that window. That point's going to be contested forever. I think this was a terrible choice, as they're just a shooting range for the poke comp.
Exactly, and the thing is, especially with this comp that Wisdom is running, they don't want to take too much damage. This is why the Moira is there, just to kind of sustain him. But even then, Moira is the only support with a true resource meter. And she has to replenish it by, well, doing damage. And look at this, RQT is already back up to another barrage, so this is another thing that Wisdom will have to push into. But now RQT has Rio's ultimates to back him up, so this is gonna be very, very difficult. Peacock does play aggressively, and yeah.
Yep, they're that bomb to try to win this out.
Oh my
And
goodness!
the Mirage is there to get shut down by Spongy. The Res is still enabled, but the Mercy's gonna go down. Rockscrap, the god of gods, trying to take that title from TIE Fighter. And on the bright side, they are gonna be able to get that soft for a tiny bit and waste that timing, but at least they're patient to hold it.
Yeah, the off-tanks have been coming alive in this map, and that bomb was so perfectly placed. People, they thought it was going to explode above them on the high ground, but then it just falls into the low ground in front of the, wait, Gordo got his bongo canceled.
No, yeah, he got his bongo canceled because of the hack. And they're just wasting time, and that's the entirety of this point. But the worst part is, look at Sergeant Pepper. He was at 60% when this fight was starting to begin. Now he's at his full ult charge, and the rest of their team has built up an ult economy. They really just sacrificed so much, all for a couple seconds, and that's worth it in some opinions.
Yeah, especially using that bongo there. That's gonna be huge for the ult economy. And now they're just gonna play aggro and take these fights 5v6 and 4v6, and that's just gonna do a ton of damage.
Yep, Rockstrap's mech does get broken, but they don't really care about it. They just want to pump in that damage. Although Gag gets punished for throwing the entire map. They don't really have the speed boost to stay in this fight, but they are going to be able to play forward. But they want to retreat. They want to take a second. They still have both support ults. They only use the EMP to try to slow things down.
Yeah, RQT does find a great pick on the Sergeant Pepper, and now they will have to play a little bit slower down, especially down their Sombra. However, they might be able to take this 5v6. Except because they do have ultimates on their court. However, Rio does have the ultimates to answer, and they will be taking high ground here, so.
Yeah, I wonder how they want to try to take this fight. Without that EMP as the engagement, it's not much. The window high new combination manages to change that Gag. This just hurts. It hurts in several days.
Yeah, I was about to say, Poofa would be proud of that one. Sorry, I'm going to get flack for that, but.
Yeah, Gag with another interesting beat there. I guess they tried to play aggressive there, but they were going to use a high noon. They were going to try to push it with a high noon into a window. That basically does Diva nuke damage at after 3 seconds. So
yep,
I don't know why.
They are going to just play crowd control, ignore the high ground, and go after the McCree. However, Sergeant Pepper gets picked off. They use the Coalescence as an enabler, and they have the Death Blossom. But the bomb is looking to shut them down. It's able to find out Gag, and the Blossom breaks out the copy, gets Sam, but the Orisa's still alive. Same with RKT on the high ground. It looks like Titanic's going to be the one true DPS helping to win this out. But with the tank still alive and Trigger happy, they're healing more than the damage can be taken. Especially with TIE Fighter freely in their backline, it's not too much of a worry. Gag is going to return and help in this fight, but the bongo gets placed and they manage the boop B patch, not going to be able to jump in. They just have to back out. They're slowly being staggered.
Yeah, and look at, Wisdom just lost their advantage. They just lost basically 2.5 minutes off the time bank, and now it's going to be the last 60 seconds here. The good news is, though, they did force Bongo out of Gordo, which is basically a nano boost for your entire team, but RQT is getting very low, though, so they were able just to heal him up perfectly. And they will be pushing into another high noon from Polar. He was able to get a ton of value, but Sergeant Pepper does have the EMP. Hopefully it's not a meme P or whatever they call it in the Overwatch League. Hopefully it does get some value here. Great pull. It does find Sergeant Pepper off the high ground, but
Yeah, but look, they're split up. Their comp is basically relying on that. The EMP comes out, it's gonna be able to hit out 2 people. That's just what you need. That's what they want to win off. The high noon on the ground is gonna be able to hit Sergeant Pepper, but Rockstrap throws out that bomb. The rally's gonna be able to sustain inside the immortality, and the skill orb helps tick out Trigger. The spawns are close, so it's not the worst issue. But with Sam still alive, this enables them to play longer, especially that bomb. It gets bubbled. They manage to break out the Coalescence, but Ty's gone. The Reinhardt returns as they break out Sam, and it's now gonna be an overtime fight. The Salvator gets used just to enable them to play further as Gordo's inside the fight, but the copy's coming in from RQT. He's gonna be having that bomb to be able to kind of play back and to use the window combined at spawn. The bomb's in a bad spot, but they need to still be touching.
Oh, it's 2!
2 and 3!
3, what?
Like Rio Redemption are just having the respawn advantage and the clutch. Spongy Cheese still helping to bring this in, but they don't have really any end supports to bring this out. Same with the ult chart. Spongy Cheese and Rockstraps are the only people, and the spawn advantage is for Rio Redemption as they're stopping this hold. Although the beautiful rotations coming out is eventually going to be finished. Wisdom Academy continuing to throw this map as Rio Redemption take in the 2-0 lead.
that was phenomenal defense there by Rio. Why aren't we seeing play of the game? Okay. But oh boy.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Okay. But but yeah, that was honestly, Gag did not look like himself to that map. As much as Rio looked phenomenal that map, Gag was doing some interesting stuff, I guess you can say, this entire map. And
yeah, I don't really think it's just Gag. The entirety of Wisdom Academy are playing very stupid. They're over-investing in these fights. They're committing too fast. They're engaging. They're not focusing. And yes, Gag is going into these fights dying early. He's not making his usual safe plays, even though sometimes he is aggressive. And that's being their major issue. That's why they managed to win that out. They're slowly panicking, and I don't understand what their mindset is, or if they're just deciding to, instead of taking this seriously, have fun.
Yeah, honestly, Wisdom definitely not looking like the powerhouse that they were throughout the entire season. For Rio, they did beat Rio earlier in the tournament, 3-1, and it's interesting. Let's see what Wisdom decides to do for their map picks. So it is going to be an escort map, and Intel, what's the map pool again for the escort? I'm sorry, I'm just like brains off right now. Rialto.
Yeah, don't worry. You guys are making this seem so tough right now.
Rialto, Dorado, and I want to say Havana. Is that right?
No.
Okay. I don't know. I'm sorry.
Well, don't worry about the map.
Root, yes. Yeah. And it's a... Oh, so I am getting updates on what that like a bad EMP is called. It's called a meme P. There we go. That makes more sense. All right. But yeah, honestly, Wisdom's just playing this super sloppily, and I know the coaches over at Wisdom are quite goated on getting their teams super consistent, working well together. But Wisdom's just investing so many ultimates into this fight, and Rio is they're just handing the ult advantage over to Rio every single time. And so it's going to be very difficult if Wisdom keeps this up, because it's not sustainable for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, if you ask me, I think it's a difference between mindsets. I'm pretty sure Wisdom Academy, they don't care about winning. They have nothing to prove. For a real redemption, I think everything's online for their ego to continue playing. That's all they really have at this point.
And we are going to the only map in the escort map pool. Is going to be Rialto. So and then real quick, Gordo Gordo said ask Kern for an apology for playing Orisa. Gordo says he is very sorry, Kern, so don't take it too seriously. And so yeah, Gordo actually looked great on that Orisa. Other than the one bongo he got canceled, he still looked like he looked consistent out there, and that's kind of the key with Orisa. And yeah, it's definitely very good team comps coming out from Rio, and they were where they're just like, hey, RQT, play fair and just carry. But yeah, so Rock also popped off for Wisdom, and honestly, this is just a tale of the two off tanks right now. Rock had a phenomenal map, TIE Fighter had a phenomenal map, and I'm just excited to see which one of these two will come out again on Rialto.
Yep, I think it is going to be a kind of weird situation where both of these teams kind of had to play in. Rialto is its kind of interesting format of map, as it caters to different forms of play style.
Yeah, honestly, it doesn't look like a... Yeah, Rio's just been using their aggressive playstyle just to make Wisdom Academy look uncomfortable. And so it's
Yeah, we
Okay.
don't have to worry. They're just gonna be fixing some things on
Okay.
their side.
Yeah, it looks like Rio's just having a bit of a technical issue, so
Eh,
everything.
Yeah, but this does give an idea. Rialto is a way to kind of bring this back for the players, but I think the main idea is going to kind of have to go in to how Wisdom Academy starts playing correctly. Their brains are very small at the moment, and Rio Redemption are taking a lot of punishment against it. While Polar and RQT look absolutely amazing, they still don't have kind of the raw carry potential that I think their tanks can really help them push in. While Wisdom Academy, I've always said it, they have an even roster, while Rio Redemption have very high moments and very low moments.
Yeah, it's
Rio's team has been honestly. I'm surprised it hasn't been the RQT and Polar show, to be honest with you. And then it's and the tank line has really stepped it up for Rio. Granted, they do have the MVP in Gordo, but TIE Fighter has been looking phenomenal as well. And so this team has been, and they finally got Trigger Happy truly implemented into that roster. And now they're looking like a super scary team that honestly, they could probably sweep the finals here.
I can definitely see it. Honestly, right now, Real Redemption have to be feeling proud of themselves as well. Just the fact that they decided to take a team brand that wasn't really that high and is now consistently better. It's one of the top teams within the Novice division. That says a lot, and it's very kind of a proud moment for them to be able to sit there and have. But as technical issues are kind of ending and such, as we're slowly getting the players back,
there we go.
Public profiles are enforced. We are going to have a moment to sit here and think about what comps. I see Rio running back out onto that Orisa with a Diva. It was a good comp, and Wisdom Academy had issues trying to break it out, but I see Wisdom running out back onto the Shadow / Goth dive, to whatever format you're going to call it.
And honestly, yeah, Wisdom's best comp is probably that Shadow dive, because Peacock is really good on this Winston, and he's able to survive for so long without too many resources being pumped into him. Meanwhile, they Rio is like, hey, Gordo, do you mind playing Orisa? So that way you get less resources, and that's allowing, and in my opinion, that's just allowing Wisdom to put more resources into Peacock, and when they do that, they leave a lot more things exposed, and that's allowing Rio to get more frags on the board, I guess you can say. So honestly, pretty good call. I'd say pretty good call by the Rio coaching staff there for that one.
I definitely think so too as well. But still, something's just not feeling right. Exactly.
I know.
There's something about that's going to be coming out in Rialto that feels like something's going to be enabling. I don't know. I'm getting this sixth sense because Rialto is very much a quote-unquote full hold map. You know? It's very easy to get held on that first point. It's very easy to get held on that second point. And the third point, the choke is very dangerous.
And I just realized what the third map was for the map pool. It was Watchpoint Gibraltar. That's what it was. So it's Rialto, Root, and Watchpoint. So yeah, I know I am super slow today. I am so sorry. But I mean, it's long story short, waking up in the morning, especially considering that it gets 98 in your room and you're trying to sleep and you can't. It does stuff to your mind. So
might just be different.
And yeah,
it ain't fun.
Yeah, we are just giving Rio more of a second. But honestly, what do you want to see more out of coming from both of these teams?
Wisdom, I want to see more synergy and more like, hey, when to use these ults properly. Because honestly, Wisdom is over-investing like Redditors into the stock market. And it's definitely been showing recently. And from Rio Redemption, honestly, I'd say just the consistency level, because the fights they win, they can win scrappy fights, but they win quick fights,
but the fights they lose are super, super scrappy and less teamwork reliant, I guess you can say. So it's honestly, I'd say Rio just needs to focus up on target focus, I guess you can say, because knowing Rio's comms, they are very all over the place, I guess you can say.
Yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from with that idea.
And so yeah, I kind of want to see Rio play a little bit more as a unit rather than winning on fights quickly. And if Wisdom's able to get these long drawn out fights, then they can definitely win the long game, I guess you can say.
I definitely see kind of the idea. For me, at least, I want to see Wisdom Academy taking this a bit more seriously. I know having the combo of Spongy Cheese and Roxcraft together is kind of a meme. Those two play a lot together. At least they won the kind of apprentice season of GGNA last time around, so they have a lot of experience. I know they know how to take this game seriously, but when they're around each other, I know they like to have fun, and Roxcraft, his brain is a computer. He only knows coding, so I don't really expect him to understand. Don't do this much. As well as I want to be seeing BPAC in pushing his team closer to him, having them stay together, have those rotations, take natural cover, play cleaner, and that's how you win. I think Real Redemption are looking better than they ever have, but they're still defeatable, and that's what you're looking for. Except for TIE Fighter. I think he's immortal.
Yeah, TIE Fighter has been phenomenal this map, and they're running Genji Widow. We are seeing some OG dive in this, except minus the Wrecking Ball. And actually, never mind. It's probably just a troll. I mean, to be fair, they are going to be teasing Sebastian a bit, but I wouldn't be surprised seeing Spongy on the... Interesting. Sergeant Pepper runs the Pharah. Unless they're trolling in spawn, but yeah, they are trolling a bit of spawn. And they only have 13 seconds to get set up. And knowing Rialto, there's a lot of stairs that they can take as well. And Gordo will be swapping over to the Monkey. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Polar take a shot and then immediately swap to like Tracer or someone. And there it is. Oh, get Sergeant. So close to getting Sergeant there. That would have been huge to open the fight. And he's staying on to this Widow.
Well, Polar has no reason to change. They have the sidelines and they have freedom. And look at that, they're able to find out Gag, who's not respecting Polar. It's all I've been ever saying about him. Polar's a consistent player. The Widow does eventually pick out, but look at this fight. They are down that Mercy, so they don't really have anyone peeling in for Sergeant Pepper, so this fight isn't an interesting place, but the anti-hitting the break up moving forward, but the damage is still in. Wisdom Academy are struggling to keep themselves kind of sustained in there, but with the Mercy coming back, they're there. They're fine. And yet, Real Redemption still want to push in. They're sacrificing their mech, even if Sergeant Pepper doesn't realize he's back-to-back shoulder matrixing against with his teammate. The fight still doesn't want to end. BPAC is going to be going down. They've lost that, never retreating. Trigger Happy does
nice nade.
Gordo on the mech are gone, so luckily they managed to bring it back. But still, this is another situation where they could have easily lost that fight.
Yeah, and the main reason why is because Sergeant Pepper, despite losing his Mercy early, he was able to still sniff out Polar, which, in my opinion, was the biggest threat in that fight. Genji's not really too much of a threat until he gets his Nano Blade, and there's no one really threatening Wisdom Academy other than that Widowmaker. So they will be nanoing RQT here relatively early, and
yep, he's
also
very
Sergeant
close
Pepper.
to that Nano Blade. However, Trigger Happy's gone, and he gets no value from the Nano. They just leave him. We see the rest of the tank line just pushing in, trying to take out Gordo, but the Primal Rage allows him to move forward. RQT does have this blade if he chooses to use it, but the High Noon coming from an interesting angle, combined with the barrage from Sergeant Pepper slowly to kill Gordo. It's rude, but it works. That's the way you're supposed to really play barrage. Solo queues definitely work.
Exactly.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, Trigger did use the Nano Boost there. However, he can probably farm it up real quick and give it back to RQT because RQT was able just to use that to farm his blade. And the Widow pick, yeah, it's somewhat working. It's still creating that angles, and yeah, he's just going in to swap to Tracer. So, and RQT goes down early in that fight. So this is another stall window for Rio here.
I definitely agree. They're having trouble kind of moving in and taking a good format into this fight. Maybe the reliance on trying to use those ult combinations are causing them to struggle, but they should have room now. However, Gordo gets booped away from where he wanted to be, and TIE Fighter moves in. The rally is going to enable their mech to be able to survive for a bit longer, but both bombs are used, It seems,
Oh.
however, TIE Fighter's going to get more value, taking out
Oh,
not only
no.
Sergeant Pepper, but Roxcraft. Combined with the bomb, the res means nothing, because they're just going to be getting value by shutting down the Mercy slowly, and then Sergeant Pepper's stuck inside the sky. However, he does have B-Pack, so he can continue kind of fighting, but they're just going to disengage.
Yeah, honestly, smart disengagement coming out from Peabok as well, because they will be having this nano going into this next fight. Sergeant Pepper's gonna definitely get in and farm a barrage, and also Spongy does have one of the better zoning ults in the game in High Noon, so they can definitely try and work around it. Here comes the nano onto Peabok, so they're gonna use that to try and primal here.
They try to use it further, but Gordo is able to start also using his own. However, the High Noon really doesn't. It manages to get trigger happy. B-Pac is going to be taken down, so it's kind of a weird fight as Gordo's just able to start primaling at the entirety of the backline. And Spongy Cheese doesn't get any form of healing and gets shut down because of it. Rockstrap does make it even by finding out Gordo, but his mech is still dangerously low and he has to wait. The Valk is the big point of factor, though, as he's not only
TIE Fighter has bomb,
but dodge. We see them building in as TIE Fighter's going to throw that bomb far in the back.
He does find TIE.
Somehow dies from that, but luckily on the side of Real Redemption, they build up that blade, and it's all they needed to help themselves kind of win this fight. I don't understand how Thigh died from that. He was behind the lamppost so far away, but I don't know, Blizzard physics.
Exactly. The thing is, the lamppost is skinny, and it's just definitely a it's definitely not wide enough to block a Diva Bomb. Maybe it was because the center of the Diva Bomb was I guess it wasn't covered by the lamppost, which might explain the reasoning why. And yeah, Titanic's already back up to another nano boost though, so that's gonna be great for engagements for P-Bok as well. And here comes an early rally coming out from Sand Knight, so they will just be building up the armor passively. Rock's gonna try a funny thing. Yeah, yep. There he goes.
Look at that moving in. However, Gordo has the perfect opportunity to take those dives. Right now, they managed to bait out the bomb, as well as the pulse bomb manages to get Spongy Cheese, so they've lost their hit scan early because the res has to be enabled, so it's still going to be kind of in a weird faction. The nano does hit Sergeant Pepper, so he can build up to this barrage, and he pops it out, gets the DMAC, and he's not going to be taking any serious amounts of damage, especially with Spongy Cheese on the high ground, but they're still having to invest 3 to 4 ults per fight to be able to kind of bring it to dead even. Well, Real Redemption have been looking continuously better the longer the fight starts.
Exactly, and look at they did use rally very early there, and they're already halfway back to it, and basically Sergeant just saves Gordo's life a little bit by booping him forward and out into cover, and they will be having the nano boost to work with as well. So this is gonna be a lot of ultimates coming out from Real Redemption, and this is the reason why Rio has been just so much better than Wisdom today. Gag pops the Valkyrie early, and they still are going to take this engagement. Interestingly enough.
Yep, we see them take that early engagement. They're putting pressure onto Rockcraft. Even though the Valk healing is a lot, 2 monkeys are a lot more. They are putting pressure onto Gag and going after the people he had to leave, especially Titanic. And it seems that eventually is going to be the punishment of their lifetime. That payload's going to be continuously moving, and they're having trouble trying to slow it down. Both bombs being placed onto the point. Who's going to get more value? It seems it's going to be TIE Fighter once again as B-Pac is going to just pop in a little too early. It's going to be shot down, and the Farah's just not going to be able to touch that point.
Yeah, Rio would have to invest a lot, but that's understandable why, because they just had the ult economy advantage. And why not just use most of them? And Polar just goes down with his pulse bomb too, so that's going to be difficult, especially considering that you only have one fight here. So Wisdom will be swapping over to more of a kind of a brawl comp and kind of like a hybrid comp, I guess you can say.
Just where the brawl works, we see the nano come out with the barrage to take out Gordo and TIE Fighter's mech, so they don't really need to kill that and stagger this for as long as they want. But I'm feeling like the big issue here is just Gordo. His monkey has looked so good today, and I underestimated him so hard at the beginning of this series.
Yeah, Gordo has been looking phenomenal. He swaps over to the Reinhardt, so they will be running more of a brawl comp with an Anna Echo Reaper, and so this is definitely interesting to say the least, because Anna, I mean personally I'd rather have a bat because you just have beat off cooldown, and I mean with Anna I guess you can pocket the hell out of your Reinhardt,
Yeah, what a rotation they take in a sleep on a B-Pack. He manages to get charged to be sent to Thanos' homeworld while the payload is being pushed. There is nobody really to contest it, and they're somehow still losing this fight. Look how freely it moves. There's just 2 tanks, and then RQT hits the copy onto the McCree, hitting everyone
No
in
shot.
the backline. Look at this. That payload manages to hit the choke, and they break off the mech, but they're still returning to the fight. The DPS are perfectly fine. The bomb being thrown into the air by Rockstrap, hoping to make a difference, and it seems that this somehow is working out in Wisdom's favor, but the Nano manages to hit Polar. They're going to be having some sustain. They don't have any ult economy just to be able to stop this just yet until B-Pack builds up that Nano. They're being able to push it purely into the choke, but they've lost Spongy Cheese. This is now a staggered fight as they bait and block out the Shatter. Happy was the only person to get hit, and unfortunately it seems that there's still someone in an even fight. RQT's continuously living, but is finally going to die.
Fighter's back with the bomb.
Back with the bomb. It goes outside the immortality, is able to break it, and the remech doesn't find much, but the Blizzard's going to be able to capture everybody inside of it. There is no more of a hold, but Real Redemption have pushed this so far and that it's pretty much a win condition in itself.
Exactly, and that was actually a phenomenal push from Rio, because they got past the 2, like in my opinion, they got past one of the hardest first point pushes to push, with the hardest one being Watch Point Gibraltar, and in my opinion, the hardest second point push, because that high ground is so hard to deal with for Rialto, and they were able just to breeze through it. And so this is definitely and honestly, props to Rio for managing their ult economy better than Wisdom. And this has been the story of the match so far. Rio's just been using their ultimates better. And yeah, they will be rocking Sergeant Pepper onto the Pharah, so pretty good call. And they are rocking RQT on the Pharah as well, so it's going to be a battle of 2 Pharahs here. RQT has been building up his ultimates super quick on this Pharah as well, so
yeah, I don't know. This feels a little bit weird because RQT on the Pharah is a little nutty at times, and I feel Sergeant Pepper is going to struggle, at least because he doesn't have Smudgy Cheese to be there to help him out at times. I feel like them together can definitely beat RQT, but RQT is going to be winning this Pharah 1v1s. Spongy does look like he want to go out for that quick Widow peek, but there's nothing more of that. They still struggle to play this on a Hollywood, so I wonder how they're going to try to do it on Rialto.
Yeah, Spongy's gonna go. He gets pressured out, so he's just gonna swap over to Tracer probably, or McCree. Wouldn't be surprised to see one of the 2 there. Yeah, there comes McCree, and yeah, going into this high ground, especially with an Orisa. Oh, that's actually a huge boop onto Polar there. It gets him onto the low ground, but he is Hanzo. He can just climb back up very easily. RQT gets relatively low. He's in a safe position though.
Yep, we see them moving that payload. They're playing natural cover. It's the best way to play against this comp, as we see them already set down. The Pharahs are in place, but look at that. B-Pack gets shut down first. There's just nothing he can do. The rest of the team on the side of Real Redemption are going to be able to just continuously push forward while the poke is there, but there's no fight there.
Exactly, and that's like what I said earlier. They didn't invest enough resources into P-Bach. They're so used to him just using for just not dying, I guess you can say, that they weren't able to use too much. Thai has been DPSing a little bit too much, and Spongy Cheese goes down. This is going to be the opening that Rio needs to win this fight.
They don't need it to win the fight. They just know they have it. Because look, the res comes out, they pop the dragons, and it's all the way on the high ground. They are going to be able to split, but that major damage pokes them out. Sergeant Pepper gets that nano, but it's about getting something with it. He does play pressure. RQT Trigger Happy gone early. The window's not going to get any value as the rest of the team are picked off. And it looks like they just managed to get it because the nano builds onto Sergeant Pepper and gives him that ability to overstay his welcome. Yeah,
they stagger TIE Fighter a little bit there, but TIE Fighter has another bomb to work with, so this is definitely and now they're definitely going to be able to retouch. And TIE Fighter has been really clutch with these bombs. However, they will be pushing into 4 ultimates on the side of Wisdom, so this is going to be very difficult to break for if you're on the side of Real Redemption. There comes the barrage, just finds Gordo right away.
Unfortunately, there wasn't enough PO to help out Sergeant Pepper. Oh, but the counter rally just doesn't get enough. Rock Trap does get hit by the bomb. Counter's gonna hit Trigger Happy. Sam is dangerous low, gonna be picked off, but the Diva's there combined with the Pharah. They're gonna be able to pump in a lot of damage, especially with Gordo's shield. They basically won this fight. There's nothing stopping them. There's no ultimates there. The barrage is gone, and yet we see Sergeant Pepper go inside the backline to start pumping in that damage. We do see Trigger Happy return, but look at that. The rest of the side of Real Redemption were able to just sit there on the point and stall it out. Are completely gone. Sergeant Pepper's getting away by playing inside their backline for free without any delay.
Wow. Sergeant's just doing a ton of damage here. He gets 4 kills in that fight. And look at this. He's already back up to another barrage. He used it at the beginning, and now he's going to have that tool to work with for the next fight. Good news is, if you're on the side of Rio, is Gordo has Mongo, and that can be used to help build ultimates as well. RQT will be making the swap over to the Echo, so here it comes.
Yeah, Sergeant Pepper using that barrage early. He might want to swap mid-map, or he just wants to take that early poke. It works. However, the res is there. They want to bait it out early because now they're at a disadvantage. They have no Polar.
Yeah, that's actually even though, yes, that barrage only got 1 kill, they were able to get so much value from it. And now, look at this. Look at the boofs that Sergeant Pepper is doing as well. It's knocking Gordo off the high ground, and he does go down, though, so this is going to be a bit of an opening on the side of Rio.
Yep, the pressure's there. The Dragon's out. That's gonna demech Rockcraft. Sure, the boops are going around, but the trades are still somewhat even. Sergeant Pepper's really been carrying his team, especially with Spongy, as they're getting the majority of the value and picks. They managed to get the Sky. They managed to get the tanks onto the low ground, forcing them out of position where they don't want to be playing. And look at that, they're slowly being picked off.
No.
Sure, RQG's gonna come back, but he's coming back to a team that's already fallen.
Yeah, the problem is Rio was playing that super slow, and they had a bit of an they had some ultimates to work with. Like TIE Fighter could probably use the bomb there just to zone off someone to try and find a pick there just to make the fight even. But Rio's being a little bit too passive with their ultimates now, rather than taking initiative.
Yep, we see those swaps coming in just like they're needed. They understand the kind of map differential of how this plays, and they're going to be using that window first on the side of Real Redemption. We do see the LOS. They just want to play back, but they pop out that bomb. They're throwing it beyond the corner, and it manages to hit Sam. That's better than what they could have expected. Now they come in. They may have lost die, but they have the res, and it comes in. Polar is able to get Sergeant Pepper, but they do have their bat back, and he's pumping that damage into Gordo. We see the rest of Real Redemption struggling to get back to the point, and the Remax not going to be able to come in. Ty just didn't have that ability to pop it out or some reason. May want to try to use it for the recontest, but this is a last-second scenario. They have to
it's going to be very tough.
Yeah, look at that. We already see Polar trying to touch, just gets it. Immortality's there.
Yeah,
but they don't have anyone there. That unfortunate bomb is going to give Wisdom the map.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why TIE Fighter was holding on to his bomb. Maybe he was looking for the perfect opportunity. We are now 2-1 in Wisdom's favor, and so this is
Wisdom.
Or no, excuse me, in Rio's favor. RQT getting to play the game.
Name.
Exactly.
Yeah, look at this. Both of these teams right now pushing it to the end. Wisdom on their defense, not on their defense, on their attack, looked like they started to get their things in together. They started playing a bit more seriously. We saw them actually take things, as well as Sergeant Pepper actually stopped throwing, got some shots in, Gad wasn't overfeeding. And Real Redemption, they still looked amazing, but Wisdom are now reaching where they're supposed to be playing. Both of these teams have the capability of winning, and it's still far from over. Remember, it's first to 4.
Absolutely. Yeah, so it is. Yeah, dude, keep in mind, it is first to 4. We are going to be taking a quick little break. Catch us here in just a moment. It is 2-1 in favor of Rio. See y'all in about a couple of minutes. And well, go for
What do you think your
it.
job is? What do you think? You're not.
Hey. To be fair, it took you like 15 minutes just to get situation, and I just realized I'm down my glasses right now, so you get to
It
look
took
into
me
my eyes.
5 minutes. I took my time because I didn't know how long we were going on pause for. It was random. So either way, we're back, everybody, and we are here to be able to bring in the cast. Going on to Sky Industry with Wisdom Academy up 1, but Rio Redemption up 2.
Yeah, on it, and basically, moral of the story is Rio's been using their ults better than Wisdom, but Wisdom kind of picked it up here towards the, I guess you can say, middle part of the map here. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if this game's halfway done. We might be going to 7 maps because this is what it's been looking like.
I definitely agree. However, Volskaya feels more like into Real Redemption's kind of play style, definitely with the way they've been working and how kind of clean RQT has consistently been on every hero he's played. I think this is the day where he finally woke up and said, I'm not going to throw. I got this, guys.
I know. Yeah, RQT has been looking very, 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 very good, usually. He was an MVP nominee. And honestly, yeah.
Yeah, my goodness. Either way, I'm wondering to see how these teams are going to want to play this. Well, Sky Industries doesn't have a set composition to really work with, so you have the opportunity to continue to push forward and kind of play, or if you want to, you could just kind of play, dive, run around, control the Mega Health Pack. There's so much variety in the way that you can play this that it opens up new styles and opportunities, and so I'm interested to see how these teams want to do it. By the way, because we have forgotten to mention it, and I feel like this is something we really do and should more often. The charity, we've raised over $1,000, and that's absolutely insane. Some of you people have the ego to really continue bringing it up, and it's great. Obviously, right now,
Caitlin.
Exactly. I can't really call people out like this, but the campaign is towards Women in Gaming International, and it means a lot. Since we surpassed our 1,000 goal, we're going to be going to 2,000 or 1,500. If we reach 2,000, there will be some staff members that we're not allowed to say who will wear maid outfits and stream with them on for all of League Zero.
Yeah, until one of them better be you.
I have no reason to agree to it.
You have absolutely every single reason to agree to it.
Yeah, but either way, it's a great cause, as well as soon Divided will be eating some spicy noodles, things like that.
Boy.
So if you want to see it happen, make sure you stay in tune and you get ready, because we're going straight into this map. This game is far from over.
Yeah, low key, I kind of want to see Dividing eat the world's spiciest Dorito. That would be funny. Like, I mean, if he can't handle spice that well, don't do it. But like, low key, kind of do it.
He's gonna eat some very hot ramen. I don't think he can handle anything.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, to be fair, he did deal with the spice of the League Zero community, so that's understandable there.
Yep, we do see these compositions come out in both of these teams, picking out what I expected, and it's what they're comfortable on. Spongy Cheese, Hit Scan, Sgt. Pepper, Farah. More importantly, Real Redemption are not running what I expected them to. I expected more of a Farah Mercy to try up and go against Sgt. Pepper, but they want to go with RQT onto the Echo and a pure dive rush.
Yeah, RQT. Yeah, this is the comp that everyone witnessed in what is it, the June Joust, where wasn't it like Sombra Reinhardt was banned, and they pretty much just relied on the next variant of Goats. And so, yeah, this comp does a lot of upfront damage here with the Reaper and the Echo. Echo has that focusing beam, which literally it's stupid because it does 200 damage per second, and all you need to do is just track.
Yeah, and it lasts for way too long. We are going to be seeing them take this rotation, and that bubble's used, but that's a huge purple. Anti, the bubble does manage to peel them out, so nobody's really going to die, but they took a lot of damage. They do have to rotate to the high ground, but with Trigger gone, that's less damage that's going to be helping them out, especially. However, Sgt. Pepper gets picked out. He just gets sticky, and it's unfortunate. For some reason, Sam Knight's also going after the supports all the way in the backline, so now he's split from his team.
Exactly, and the thing is with Sam Knight is, if you're not playing Lucio like Dive Lucio, then you're throwing. And RQD is very cut off from his team, and he does go down. So this is this is going to be, they have to wait a few more seconds because RQT did stagger himself a bit. And honestly, this ult economy for Rio is looking very shaky right now. The most they have right now is 45% from Polar, and yeah, they really have to farm this. They really have to farm this Coalescence if they have a chance. And RQT is split from his team.
Yeah, it's going to be hard. They want to take this rotation over to where they thought the supports were, but by this moment, they've already left that area and gone to the opposite high ground. This is where RQT comes in to be able to put that pressure in, while the rest of their team is stuck in this mega health pack room. Rockstrap does lose his mech and life, so this is no longer in their favor. Luckily, with Gordo's sleep, this is more even, but Polar's been picked out. They are struggling to kind of play and have some momentum. Sergeant Pepper with the nano does do a lot of damage, but he's so burnt down, there's nothing he can do. Funny Cheese also accidentally falls off the map. I don't know if you saw that. I just looked at him and see that.
I know, it's funny.
That's gonna give them the advantage because there's only VPAC on the point, and even if he pops his Primal like he's doing, well,
he's just feeding ult charge at this point.
Yeah, there's nothing you can really do. We see that bomb come out, but they're basically going to ignore it for a bit. Rocktrap may be able to get back inside of this mech, but he's lost his team. They waste that timing, but they sacrifice 2 to 3 ultimates.
And look at the ult economy on the side of Rio. They literally have every ult on that team comp other than B, and Wisdom only has the barrage and mate, and they're definitely gonna get a Valkyrie towards the end of it. And honestly, okay, hang on one sec. I'm like hearing a weird beat in my headphones. Anyone else?
No.
But okay, never mind. It was just my headphones. Here come every single ult, and RQT gets D-Mac right away.
Cool, unless it's Barrage, Valk, they're looking at the copy's going to be getting more value as the Blossom's able to pick them out. We are seeing Wisdom Academy not getting the advantage in this fight, just struggling to stay alive and stall this out. With a 4-minute time bank, Rio don't look too scared at all. We do see the rest of their team slowly getting picked out as the dive is good, and they have to kind of stagger themselves onto the point. It's going to be the Wrecking Ball trying to touch, but with that bomb there, it slows them down. It looks like the Wrecking Ball is just barely going to be able to touch, but just not fast enough, and they're going to be able to capture with 3 minutes and 56 seconds.
I guess Rock pinned away from, like, the thing with Rock, he kind of pinned the bomb, and the bomb was about halfway to exploding, and so, like, he was definitely going to dive to it. I don't know why he did that. You could have just shielded it for a few seconds, let Bebop touch, and having a Reinhardt swinging on the point, especially with all the damage that he does, yeah. Interesting decisions coming out from Wisdom once again, and like I said earlier, Rio just used their ult economy better. Wisdom burned 2 crucial ultimates on a recapture fight that they had absolutely zero business in doing. They wasted both their tank ultimates, and that might have just cost them the map if you think about it.
Yeah, it's back into the scenario where Wisdom Academy aren't taking this seriously. They're possibly having fun or just memeing around, and that's a bit frustrating. I feel like Rio deserve to have the fight of their lives, or maybe Rio have just surpassed us and we just don't understand it. They are going to be running the Soldier instead of any kind of Reaper, so that's mobility going after Sergeant Pepper. But they need a better time bank, or at least a decent time bank, especially if they want to be able to bring this into a kind of 4-4 situation.
Yeah, and also, I did have some inside sources tell me that Rio was double blocking and triple blocking this week. So they have been preparing. They want to win this game, and they are looking like a great team so far today.
Yep, we see them already getting set up, just pumping that damage. They are going to be making a very nice rotation over to the Mega Health Pack spot while the Far Mercy stay back. But this is kind of what their composition want. They really don't have to worry about too much. They are wasting a lot of time sitting into this Mega Room as we see BPAC already just solo fighting. Thigh's purple alone. He's dangerously low. He managed to survive, and yet Wisdom Academy are bringing it back. What a rhyme in my house, but it seems that Rio Redemption are having struggles of target focus to be able to find a single target to really kind of kill. They are having RPG kind of poking everyone out, but look at that. The entirety of their team has been picked up. They've lost this fight, and I'm confused too as how.
Yeah, honestly, they didn't just capitalize. They didn't capitalize on opportunities that came to them. Like Trigger hit a nice nade on the Titanic, who he could have got licked and died. And honestly, maybe they just didn't call it out or something. And now they're going to be at a bit of an ult disadvantage going into this next fight, where Thai has a nano and Trigger's not even halfway to his. So so let's see how they will utilize this. I wouldn't be surprised if they just give it to Pepper. Pepper and let him one-shot everyone.
Yeah, I can see this more going into RQT. RQT is coming very close up to the copy, and he's being able to build them up so quick. However, Sergeant Pepper builds up that barrage, so he's most likely getting that nano. The monkey does manage to get it as they pick them off, but Sergeant Pepper's gone. There's no peel for the Mercy or Thigh to be able to bring this in until the Valk comes in, so they're using those resources to split that focus. They are being on this point, but the High Noon's out from Spongy. He's looking to pop someone. They manage to block out the barrage. It's going to be punished as the mech gets there. We do see one tick is captured, but they're still struggling to finish this out, especially with TIE Fighter having his mech back and Gordo returning back into the fight. This is a 2C moment, folks. They aren't going to really have the sustain to continue this. As we see the tanks going up against them, they are able to find out Spongy Cheese, but there's a bomb on point. They get that second tick. The rest of Rio Redemption have returned back into the fight against the slow staggered of Wisdom Academy. I don't know why they continue to move in, but they force out the bomb. They're going to be looking to dodge it out, and they still can really take this, and it seems like they want to.
Yeah, and honestly, it's just Rio right now is on cleanup duty because again, 2CP, you have the respawns right there, and now Rio is more than likely going to have a better time bank than Wisdom Academy, unless they all decide to jump off the map right now, which I highly doubt they will. And yeah, the good news is they do have Valk for to kind of counter Thigh's nano, but knowing Thigh, he's probably just going to hand it to P-Bach, let him reign free, and yeah, it's going to be a little bit difficult to I guess you can say, push into it.
They used the nade early because they were so low, and that Valk's going to be used to allow that engagement. They trade out DPSs, but there's only one res available, and that's Sam Knights, because Gag gets picked off. They can't push this anymore, and yet they still fully commit trying to make a difference. They have a lower time bank than Rio, so there's really nothing to waste besides the time you have.
And that was so smart from Rio. They knew what they had to do, and so they only just popped a Valkyrie, and now look at Trigger Happy. He's gonna have a nano to match Titanics here, and so this is probably the best case scenario on the side of Rio Redemption, because being able to match the nano will be huge for the future. Gordo is probably gonna build up his primal here, and RQT has that duplicate, which is gonna be huge to counter this guy.
They're moving forward, but Sergeant Pepper gets slept, woken up, the Valk gets used, and then the Nano engage. Both of these teams are struggling, but RQT gets the Ana by accident. The Nano goes to TIE Fighter just to be able to stall this out for a little longer, but look at that bomb. RQT's not going to be able to escape it fast enough, and the rest of Wisdom Academy, they're going to be able to capture this in a couple fights, lowering down the time bank sizably, but Rio still has the advantage here.
Yeah, Rio still has a 3-minute and 14-second advantage compared to Wisdom's 2-minute advantage. And yeah, Wisdom's just Wisdom, they've just been looking more consistent on this dive, and they've been making, I guess you can say, making more individual plays too. And they've been looking more like a team. They knew that they had to dry fight that fight when Sam Knight popped his Valk early. So honestly, good call with Wisdom there. They could nothing really too much you can do other than just lose quick, maybe farm up a couple ults in the process, and yeah, just go next. And now we will be seeing a similar comp coming out from Rio. However, they are making RQT play the Echo and Polar play the Ash, which, okay, they are requesting a pause. We're waiting for this is Wisdom that's hosting right now. Yep, oh boy. Oh boy. Okay, never mind. Thank goodness we're in a. There we go. Yeah, thank goodness.
Don't worry about it. That's not what the stream is trying to focus on. But okay, you get an idea of what their compositions are going to be. They basically swapped, except for Wisdom, who are running out with the same thing. But I feel like we are going to be able to adapt around that. They already saw what their mistake was. Yeah, and honestly, Polar on the Ash is going to counter this Pharaoh a lot better, because Ash is generally more of a long-range character compared to Soldier. And also Dynamite is just one of the best abilities in the game, because all that burn damage and pressure you can put on the Mercy too, just to heal up the team. And especially if Thigh gets hit, then that'll put a bit of pressure on Thigh as well. So
Honestly, I like the Ash pick here coming out from Rio. It's probably gonna be better than the McCree pick on the side of Wisdom here. And it looks like Rio is readying up, so we're getting back into the map.
Yep. And now this is kind of for them to have to kind of play around. They need to optimize these fights as much as possible. Win them by using less ults and win them with as much time possible.
Yeah, and knowing Wisdom's track record, especially in this map, especially in this game, excuse me, they're gonna they've been using ultimates like it's water, and they've just been using way too much of them. And look at Polar; he's already a quarter up to his Bob, which could be huge here if they eventually get it to recontest this point.
What happens when you get such a big pizza pie? Gordo may miss that jump, but I don't think he wanted to make it regardless. They do force them into the Mega Health Pack room, and this is where Spongy wants to be able to play a shooting range. But Gordo comes in with the bubble, and RQT has a free shot to throw in those stickies. While Titanic does go down dangerously low, they have to retreat, manages to sleep out TIE Fighter, but they're just going to be ignoring him for the rest of the fight. Spongy goes out alone looking for that Echo, but they've lost their mag, so they're at the disadvantage. And with Gag gone, they really don't want to invest this Nano, especially with the fact that they're so split. Somehow, Titanic's still able to escape that fight, and Spongy's able to get that pick, but it's less than a minute. They're still choosing to move into it, but they don't have the team anymore. They still commit the Nano and go after the targets on the high ground. So, we see them mirror in the same way for Rio Redemption, but they're not going to get any value. Epoch uses the entirety and just leaves the fight.
And Ty's just staggering himself. Yeah, I don't know why they use Nano there. That's like I said earlier, this is Wisdom Academy just throwing away ultimates. And I guess they used it for P-Bach to farm up a little bit of a Primal, but if he goes down early in this fight, he's not going to be able to use it. So, and now they will be having to run into 3, maybe 4 ults on the side of Rio, and while only having a High Noon and a Barrage and maybe even a Primal.
Yep,
and
the Valk gets used early just for them to be able to sustain themselves, especially with the bot being thrown in that small room. They break the mech. There's nobody able to touch the point until Sergeant Pepper uses the Barrage and immediately slap/punish. The stickies combined with the things manage to get it, but the High Noon manages to get 2. Sergeant Pepper's still alive to be able to pump in that damage, but there's no res available. We see the Mercy being able to hide, but somebody has to touch just barely, and they don't make it in time. They get scared from the remech, and they just C9 by mistake.
Rio, oh my goodness. Oh boy, I'd say that's a we got a bit of a Charlie Niner on our hand right now. And interesting. I mean, yeah, like remake got nerfed so that you can touch the edge of the point still, but honestly, that was just TIE Fighter again. That bomb was phenomenal because it just scared Wisdom off the point. And Gordo as well with the Primal Rage that got 2 off the map. Keep that in mind. That really did turn the fight around. So Gordo's been looking phenomenal on this Winston here.
Yep, we're now in a very scary situation for Wisdom Academy. They lose this, it's 3-1. And pretty much everyone's predictions are going to be wailing out. They're going to feel so excited after this. But Wisdom Academy can 100% draw this. 3 minutes and 14 seconds are well enough, but with Wisdom Academy's really bad judgment and overuse in ult economy, I feel like Wisdom aren't going to struggle. They've won this fight very easily, and everyone else is kind of waiting their time to kind of get to the point.
Exactly, and yeah, and if they did have that nano boost towards the end, I could have seen a whole different ball game for this final fight here, as we will be seeing the same comp that Rio did use on attack here. So Gordo is going onto the low ground, I guess you can say, and he will be jumping to engage. So here comes the rest of the team to follow up, and they find Gag.
That's really bad. Without that brig, there's nothing protecting Titanic besides from Spongy Cheese. There's now a fight on the point. They managed to get RQT, but Rockstrap's gone. The dive going back on the thigh, but he gets pushed off the map, and the rest of Wisdom Academy slowly start breaking their ankles. They're not going to be able to survive, and it seems that Rio Redemption, really without too much of a struggle, they're going to be winning off of Skya and bringing this into a match point.
Rio is 1 map away from winning. I think Rio.
Orbs?
Yeah. Rio is one map away from winning this game. I'm sorry, I was just lagging a bit. But yeah, Gordo with a clutch 2K right there, and that's really what kind of pushed the map in favor of Rio there towards the end. Granted, their attack was superb, and yeah, honestly, this is gonna be a great game to watch here. Let's see what Wisdom chooses for. I guess you can say their crunch time map, because they need to win out if they want to win, and they have to win 3 maps in a row against a Rio team who's looking very, very, very good here.
Yeah, the momentum on the side of Real Redemption is high right now. They definitely came in wanting to protect their ego and kind of status, and it's what they're looking for continuously in these fights. So it's not too much of a sweat of what they're looking for or what they're trying to make. Wisdom Academy, however, really, what do they have to lose in this? Just a second place title? Oh well, they really probably don't care as much or really see the way to see a reason to win. But I still think this is a possibility for Wisdom Academy to be able to bring it back. We saw glimpses of them actually trying or at least using their brain instead of just playing really stupid, because they're either actively throwing and they know what they're doing, or they all think they're doing as hard as they can. And they're basically it's like walking into a wall. They think one day they'll break through it. They're just not.
Yeah, and the thing with Wisdom is they've been in this situation before plenty of times. Like, this is their 3rd consecutive finals appearance. And so and honestly, that is just impressive for a single branding to make the finals 3 times in a row. But the problem is they just look nervous. Like, they are making mistakes that are not, I guess you can say, Wisdom Academy-esque. It's kind of more real, where they overinvest in ults and stuff. So honestly, these 2 teams kind of just swapped roles, I guess you can say, here.
Yeah, but this is a moment for both of these teams to take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. They get the opportunity to kind of sit there and think about what they want to be doing, especially with Wisdom. They need a lot of coaching right now to get their head into the game. Although I do wish Juicebox and Jerry Zone were in the game, it seems Real Redemption are just confident in their starting 6 and just keep pushing it forward.
Yeah, and honestly, Rio's just like, hey, we want to win this game. We are going to keep our 6 in. We are just going to roll. And so this, honestly, they've just been looking like a more consistent team. And they will be going to Busan. Great, honestly, pretty good map choice. It is escort, yes. So it goes control, escort, control. Okay. And so basically, if Wisdom Academy wins this map, just so y'all are aware, the next map will be an escort map. So it'll be either Route 66 or Watchpoint Gibraltar, and it looks like and it looks like this might be it for Wisdom Academy, especially with the great season they had. This is going to be a rough way to end it.
Don't really think they'll mind it.
I know. That's true.
But you still make a great point. And Busan as a map is very similar to Lijiang Tower. It's fundamentally ideal, and very much the points are familiar in those sense. There's 2 very brawl ones where Doomfist is highly valuable, and then there's Downtown, which is purely dive.
And actually, even then, on Busan Sanctuary, or whatever it's called, with the big drum in the middle, I could see Orisa being played there too, because it's just so open in the middle. And honestly, you can run all 3 of the core compositions in this map here, on different points of the map. So I wouldn't be surprised if I were to see that Orisa comp that Rio's been running it to a great degree of success on the Sanctuary. I don't know what it's called. Busan, just call it drum map. But yeah, they'll be pretty much running. I wouldn't be surprised to see that comp on drum map. Brawl mirror on the Mecha base, and also dive on downtown, which, let's be honest, running dive on downtown is actually pretty fun.
Yeah, fair enough. That is more of kind of a weird dive map in kind of a weird fixation of just how they wanted to do.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, so like, yeah, Ball is actually really valuable in that, and ironically, Widowmaker is one of the better heroes on that map as well. Even despite Dive being so popular on it, Widow has that huge sight line where she can see 2 out of the 3 lanes that you can take to the point, and Widow can just click ahead easily. And so it looks like Wisdom is hyping themselves up, and they are saying war, and aka Wisdom Academy ready. So they are looking just to hype themselves up for this map. This is gonna be, in my opinion, this might be the best map of the night right here.
Yep, we're gonna be seeing how they try to push it forward. They're definitely holding their breath. They're wanting to do the best that they can, and I still fully believe in Wisdom. But right now, Rio Redemption looking a lot cleaner. I may be their social media manager, but I'm not one to be biased.
Exactly. Exactly. Wisdom has been looking very clean in these losses. The problem is Rio's just finishing maps where Wisdom is not. And so this has been long story short, Rio this is the same way that I guess you can say Geometric won that back in season 2. Compared to Wisdom, Geo finished maps compared to Wisdom not I guess you can say not finishing it.
Yeah,
and so we are ready. We are going into Busan here. This could be the last map, second to last map, or third to last map here. And here we go. We are on the drum map.
Yep, and so right now it is match point, and I'm interested to see how these teams want to play around it. I can see Rio relying back on RQT to play that Echo, because this Echo is genuinely being one of those things that carries fights besides from TIE Fighter, but it seems that Wisdom Academy might want to play this Wrecking Ball comp.
Yeah, and this is going to be, in my opinion, Rio just has the advantage here. If they get to the back line, here, they're just going to have overwhelming numbers in order to, I guess you can say, control the fight, and they just have so much mobility to get away from this team, to get away from Wisdom's ball and tracer combo here. And so if they're able to find this core 4 before Wisdom's ball and tracer engage, then Rio definitely does have an advantage in this fight.
Yep, it's all about how the fundamentals and placing it in. How do you play against this comp? Well, you focus down the Zenyatta, who's far in the back with a Brigida. It's really RQT's job to put that pressure in, but the rest of the team really want to take advantage of their slow mobility. Just look at this.
Sam Knight
somehow able to find out Sam Knight, but then they trade in Spongy Cheese as well. They are still looking to take this fight as BPOC. It's just being able to kind of put in that damage, but he's just playing Wrecking Ball to be annoying. The point's uncaptured, and they're going to be able to start taking those ticks off of them while Sergeant Pepper plays in that damage, but Gordo's going to overstay his welcome. Say, hey, you can't touch this point, and we're going to start taking it over. As the rest of Wisdom Academy start backing up, they give them the space and the points in an uncomfortable zone. Titanics is able to get Gordo, but now the fight is in Rio Redemption's favor, as not only did they find out the support line, but the main tanks that were just being able to stay there, and we see them being able to win out that fight.
Exactly, and the big difference here is that Wisdom has a lot less sustain compared to Rio. Rio has that Moira who can just pump healing into her team while having that Fade ability, which can easily juke the ball and tracer if necessary. And so they'll be having a coalescence, and they can definitely focus down the backline / Sigma here. And here we go. Rio's isolating a target. They isolated Rock, and that's going to be a fight over before it starts.
Yeah, they're pushing in. They managed to find out Rock, and then eventually BPOC while Trigger Happy gets traded. But they're not really going to care or worry as they continue moving in.
Yeah, however, TIE Fighter does get demacked here. Gordo goes down. So if Wisdom's able to regroup fast enough, they can just definitely take this next fight. And they will be having a high noon as well, which cannot be negated by TIE Fighter because TIE Fighter is only 40% to his mech. And yeah, it's just a free point cap here, so
yeah,
not really too much of a fight.
Yeah, that helps them out in the end, and look at that, they're able to find out Polar, who has the Blossom, but how do you play against this? We do see Rock switching over and Spongy Cheese start hitting in the labs, but Trigger Happy uses the Coalescence. The mines are stopping them from being able to push forward. They still want to be able to take this fight in, even without RQT, but they have to take their time.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see a Trigger Happy swap here, and I guess not. They're not going to push to engage. Might have been a Fat Finger, don't know yet, but yeah, it looks like we will be seeing RQT go into the Diva here, so we will have a nuclear minefield coming out here very shortly.
Yep, we see them push in. The Death Blossom does get blocked, and the High Noon gets eaten by RQT, and the Remake uses that bomb, just trying to escape, but is getting pressured out by the baby copy. They are still being able to get this advantage and shut them down, and that's good patience, but they still don't have much of an ult economy after that fight.
Exactly, and I guess it was a fat finger from Trigger Happy, because he's still on this Moira despite using his coalescence already. Good news is though they do have both tank ults on the side of Rio, so very early pulse bomb doesn't find any value though. But yeah, Gordo can definitely use this primal to confirm a kill onto one of the two supports there, and here comes a bomb.
We are going to be seeing them moving forward. Gag is going to be found out. RQT is just pushing forward. The rest of Rio being able to find their targets out. And that punishment is there. The less of the old economy is going to be gone. Even Rockstrap wanting to use that bomb just to stall this point. Now is able to find out Sam Knight. This is now in their favor just because they have Sergeant Pepper still there, especially with BPOC. As long as they contest, this is winnable. RQT is being able to be there, to be able to pump that damage, to be there. But Sergeant Pepper is going to be gone, picked off by Gordo. The point still somewhat in a form of limbo, as BPOC is going to get that healing to be able to recontest back into the fight, building up those mines. But she comes back, trying to hit that aim lapse once again to be able to pick off these targets, but the sound barrier is there. They want to enable Polar to do more damage, but the mines is stopping them from moving in. The High Noon managing to find out Trigger Happy. That ult just didn't matter as much as Wisdom Academy. They're being able to stop them from stalling. Sure, that cap was there, but we see Wisdom Academy being able to win out Busan because there's just no touch.
Yeah, honestly, Wisdom Academy, they just played this super slow game, and they just let Peabot contest for a bit, and then they let their supports die out because they already have enough sustain with the Ball and Tracer. They just have so much mobility that they can rely on health packs easily. And yeah, we will be seeing over to we will be swapping over to Mega Base, which it's gonna be a more brawly map, and honestly not surprised to see both teams were on a super brawly comp here. RQT on the Reaper and Polar on the Doomfist, as well as Sergeant Pepper swapping over to the Doomfist, and both teams running Ryan, Diva, Bap, and Lucio. So we will be seeing a bit of aggression coming out from both teams here. And we will be seeing Doomfist fly once again. So let's see how they're able to counter each other super well. Polar's on a bit of a flank right now, and
yep, they're moving in. The Doomfist just wants to be able to get that first pick, but with Polar gone, they've lost their initiation ability. The rest of Wisdom continuing to move forward as we see them just being able to brawl out. The charges go in, and they're going to be able to win. Sure, they lose their tank, but that's not really much of an issue.
Yeah, the problem with Polar's Doomfist is that he tries to go on these aggressive flanks, and he just keeps getting punished for it. Like, Wisdom's able to sniff him out, like, super easily. But every time Polar commits 3 abilities just to try to get a single kill, and that's what's been making him like a little less consistent on the Doomfist here. Great counter charge there, and that's able just to get the Doomfist right away.
Yep, look at that. That's amazing. Now Polar gets to be able to play in free and start punching into BPAC, especially with the rest of the team. They really have the ultimates, but they didn't really kind of have room to be able to play. They just got found out, and now the rest of their team is just looking to stall on the point. They don't really care if they get staggered. They just want to get that time bank up for a little bit longer.
Yeah, and honestly, Wisdom Academy is just, yeah, they just got found out early, and they're still able to stall this point for a little bit. They were able to get to a third of the point in their favor, but it's going to be very difficult considering that both these teams are matching ult economies as well. The only advantage that they have is Titanic has the window over Trigger. Even then, it's such a minuscule advantage that Sam Knight can easily use a beat just to counter.
Yep, we see them setting up. Both of the teams have a good amount of ultimates to try to set up the way they want to push, but RQT's inside the back. He gets punched out of his Blossom, and this bomb is in a... They're getting ready.
Oh, no.
The sound barriers are there to even things up, but nobody has the advantage until BPOC's able to find out Gordo. The Slam goes in, manages to find out Gab with the Sunder there. RQT still alive, being able to go onto the backline. Titanic's going to be found out, just not turning around, but look at that. The combinations being there. RQT doesn't have any room to stay alive, and Wisdom Academy, they may be down, but they're going to be able to win out this fight.
And yeah, that was just Gordo just trying to stall point there. Honestly, a little bit rough, and now look at this. Wisdom's gonna be halfway to the point as well.
Yeah,
and they're still just stalling.
Yep, they just want to stall that time bank out, get it as high as possible so they can win less fights. But they did kind of not use any ultimate, which is the positive side.
Yeah, honestly, that was super smart, especially Gordo not using his shatter there. Honestly, if he did use his shatter, that would have been kind of a throw because he was the only one alive there. And the good news is now he has the shatter to match Peabok. However, look at Rockcraft. So he's already uh 3/5 of the way up to his mom.
Yep, we see Polar using that combination to get in. Beatbuck does get hit with the charge, but the immortality's there. It's absolutely beautiful, and the rest of the fight just clean up.
Yeah, honestly, nothing too much you can do there if you're on the side of Rio. Just lose that fight, go next. Hopefully your ultimates can find value here this next fight. And the good news is they were able to force out a window from Titanic, which now Trigger Happy is going to have that window for the next fight here. Oh, that's a huge shatter, though.
It's absolutely more massive than you could expect. Oh,
Oh,
no,
it's a
the
big
one
one.
with the shatter bomb. It's able
What?
to clean things up. Gordo is just able to get away with it for free, and Rockstrap tries to make something out of it, but eventually he's going to be punished for it because they don't have any room to respawn. I'm pretty sure he's just going to get demeched here.
Yeah, this was like Gordo, like despite Peabok just MTDing Gordo's like, nope, I'm the MVP here, and he just hits a massive counter shatter that did win him the fight, but Rio is counting down this point, and it looks like Wisdom will be going off to the right hand side here. But they are playing super split, interestingly enough.
Yep, they make that rotation. They're going to ignore the window, but the window still has room to get value if they choose to. For some reason, Rockstrap still wants to play behind them and kind of mess with their target focusing while we see the Doomfist Polar trying to slam right inside them. They are able to kind of charge out the Doomfist and use the Sound Barrier to be able to move in. But look, that Sam Knight's going to be moving in with his own. The window gets popped up, looking to take them out. The Death Blossom's getting Ian and shut down. Smudgy Cheese's High Noon's just not enough. And that Boop's going to be able to take out RQT, but Sergeant Pepper is traded out as well. And it looks like Wisdom Academy are taking in the advantage as Beatbox is still dangerously low, but being able to survive. This is a one-fight territory, but Polar's return back to be able to pick off Spongy. They still have very stallable characters on this point. The Lucio, the Diva, and they're just being able to get that remake in, just not killed fast enough. This is still at 99% for Rio Redemption, and they don't have room for a recontest. This is going to be
it's gonna be rough. Here, yeah, TIE Fighter has the bomb though, and he's been pulling clutch bombs consistently here. Let's see if Rio can actually touch. It doesn't look like it's gonna be possible.
Well, no, they do get the
They
Reaper
do
to
get the
barely touch, and they are building up to that Shatter plus bomb. Rockstrap's gonna do that. They managed to get the slam. Gordo is really the last person who has anything to do, but it seems Wisdom Academy put their brains together, and they win this out, bringing this to a 4-3. Still, match point for Rio Redemption.
Exactly. Well, 3-2, I think you mean. And honestly, no, you're good, man. Don't worry about it. Dude, this might actually go 7 maps. Oh my goodness.
I fear the sleep schedule.
I fear the impending doom. Spongy with a nice little high noon here does find Trigger Happy in the backline, which honestly, yeah, that kind of just cut off all the sustain from Rio there. And yeah, Titanic has been phenomenal in this Baptiste as well. Sure, he's been a little bit more DPS centric, but who cares? Just your team doesn't need healing if they all die.
Yeah, I think this is the moment where you kind of can realize what I mean when I say Wisdom Academy have been throwing for those maps. In those fights, Spongy Cheese looked to be executing cleaner. Titanic and Gag weren't wasting ults. Rockcraft was still being kind of Roxcraft, which is, you know...
Topeka brain. Yeah.
Very much. He's like 13. I don't understand. But they looked a lot cleaner. We didn't see those ult wastage. And they have at times cleaner executions than Rio Redemption, which is what I think gives them the edge over them. Rio is just a kind of stronger team when it comes to consistency, though. They're at least looking a lot better throughout these maps, while Wisdom have looked up, have looked down, have looked up, have looked down.
Exactly.
And we're going into the third map, we need to see them looking up.
Exactly, and the biggest issue here is going to be, what is Wisdom going to run? And what map is Rio going to choose in order to, I guess you can say, counter Wisdom's playstyle here? Wisdom tends to be kind of like a medium-paced team, and that's really what's been working at. And it looks like we will be going to Eichenwald, so this is RQT's time to shine, since it is such a great Pharah map here. And I would be... actually, I think it's Escort, right, Bendy?
Yeah, it is Escort.
Okay.
Oh, no, wait. No, now I'm confused. Oh no, we're back in this situation where we have to sit here and think about where they go next.
Yeah.
Yeah, what an issue we've fallen into. There's two staff members in this call, but only one will truly have the ability to do anything. Penny, the MVP of League Zero. He's
True.
silent, but he's deadly. Still, though,
Okay, it is
ideas.
hybrid.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's going to be going over to Eichenwald. That is a really good map for Rio Redemption.
I
They
know.
just looked really good on the poke.
Yeah, Rio is. It was a 2-0. And Rio has been very scary on this map as well. I don't believe they've dropped it all this season. I don't recall a time Rio losing Eichenwald, and I've watched all the games because I have absolutely no life whatsoever, and honestly, this is gonna be a great map to watch because Wisdom will have to play their hearts out if they do want to. I guess you can say mini reverse sweep this because winning 3 maps in a row is tough.
But what I'm worried about is player mentals. I think you can tell me from experience because you've been a player, I've been a player. We both understand what it's like to be in a grand final situation. When the enemy team starts getting points off of you after you're at match point, the anxiety builds up.
I know. And I totally get that as well. Like the thing is, it's just you're up and you just have to win one more map in order to win the game. Especially in the grand final scenario where you have to win 4 maps. That's definitely very anxiety inducing because you're just like, I want to win, and then you just drop a map, and then you're like, well, crap, what are we gonna do? And then next map, it's just same thing. I want to win. And then it's going to be a little bit more stressful. And then it's going to be super stressful this final map because you don't want to lose out on 3 maps in a row to, I guess you can say, lose the grand finals.
Yeah. There is a theory out there, well, more of a research, where kind of instinct and panic actions often are within a 20-second span. Adrenaline pumps throughout the body and it's always going out. And I feel Rio Redemptions are the ones who have been pumping themselves high. They feel like Bane fighting Batman. They're trying to outbreak them with brawn and brain. But Wisdom Academy, the one thing they've always had is sustain. They've been one of the longest teams. They know what it's like to play these long maps. And I'm worried if Rio Redemption are continuously going to have the mentals to be able to play through it.
Yeah, Rio just needs a quick little breather break. I'd say maybe use the restroom. Just relax. Try to get your mindset in the right place before this map because it's not going to be fun if you're constantly stressed out about turning off this map here, or turning off your mentals on this map, I guess you can say, in order to just, I guess you can say, choke it.
Yeah, it's getting scary. Wisdom Academy looking like they want to play better, but Rio Redemption, they don't want to give this up at all. And I am still excited. We are giving them a moment to kind of pee break because these players are probably sweating, dripping down as much as they can, even though their brains aren't too high.
Yeah, it's long story short, it's gonna be honestly, I am looking forward to. Sorry for seeing my bright forehead. Yeah, my my light is way too bright. Sorry about that. But yeah, so we are going into the Eichenwald, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to see Rio run a little bit more comfort picks because Rio has just been great on this Pharah, great on the Orisa as well. So yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree. But honestly, I'm wondering in Twitch chat, who do people feel like what's going on? What are predictions? Are they changing? Do people feel like they're still having kind of that area and where they're working together? The community right now, I feel, needs to be paying attention. This is a very great map. It's living up to what Intermediate showed off.
Yeah, it's honestly... This game might be a banger. No, I'm just kidding. But it might be the third Novice Finals in 4 years to go to a map 7. Hopefully that happens. I mean, honestly, casting a 7-map game was pretty fun. But
Orbs, your non-existent neck will be found and strangled. Do you know? On map 7,
You know what?
my heart. The drill of being pushed around. I want Rio to win, but Wisdom Academy, they're like, no, I don't think we're just gonna hold you guys for a little longer, and I don't think my heart can take it for any longer. I'm wearing the Marsupial jersey, but I'm ready to throw it into the corner.
Yeah, and honestly, this is gonna be a me and my blue shirt are getting ready for this map right here, as it does match the Eichenwald sky. And honestly, yeah, it's definitely I'm definitely looking forward to this map right here. I wouldn't be surprised to see Rio run their Pharah comp, like their Pharah Rhine comp, especially because I feel like that's just all comfort right there. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Wisdom run a super pokey comp here. So yeah.
Yeah, honestly, but look,
There it is.
you are a wizard, as we see Wisdom Academy running out with the Far Mercy Pure Poke. They want to be able to burst you down. RQT is choosing out the Genji, and I think that's funny. I don't think Genji's bad in this meta, and I think RQT has one of the better Genjis, even though we don't see many Genjis. I think the only person I've ever seen play Genji is Next, and Next is not a very impressive one.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
I wonder if they're going to be over-reliant onto the Nano Blades.
Yeah, and honestly, yeah, like nanoblades are pretty much going to be the key win condition here, because if you look at Wisdom's composition, the only true ultimate they have to counter it, I guess you can say, is Graviton Flux. Even then, Genji can try and Genji can just dash out of it if he gets a kill real quick. I'd say the better ultimate counter is probably Spongy Cheese's High Noon. Here. And look at all this damage coming through. Sergeant's already 20%, 30% to his ultimate, and this is going to be, that's going to be Wisdom's big win condition here, and TIE Fighter goes down. So that's a lot of damage.
Just the mech, and then eventually Polar is going to be picked off. This is the point of playing that comp. Look how much poke they're taking. They're not even scared about overstaying their welcome, because they want to reset regardless, I mean, for the side of Rio Redemption.
Honestly, what they need to do is they just need to, they need to play quick. Great comp swap onto this, but the problem is the Ana is just, good. Also, great comp swap here, because they need to play fast here. They don't need to take that much damage, and look at all the damage they're already taking. Trigger goes down.
Oh no, it's just not looking good. Too much damage pumps in, slows them down, and Gordo's just gonna convince into the stagger. I don't know how much this Goth dive is going to improve on if they're dying before a hack can happen.
Exactly. They need to play around TIE Fighter's defense matrix super well, and the problem is the DPS likes to stray away from it, and Sergeant Pepper already has this barrage, so it's gonna be a very big uphill battle for Rio to actually win this map.
Yep, they're looking to pump in that damage. Trigger already dangerously low and then rotating. The barrage comes out, able to find Trigger Happy, but look at that, Sergeant Pepper is going to be found out. The Reaper is somewhat inside them, so Rio Redemption had the moment to kind of play around, especially with that hack almost hitting. But with Sam Knight gone, they've lost that speed boost. Especially with the Valk and Rockstrap onto the Sigma, they just slowly melt them down with the help of the Valk's combination.
Yeah, honestly, Rio just, again, was that Valk really necessary? Did it, Polar goes down there late towards the end. But the good news is Polar does have the EMP, which is really this comp's true engagement ultimate, other than Coalescence, which should normally come fast, especially with this poke comp here. But look at the ultimates they will have to push into. They have to push into a Flux, Noon, Supercharger, and a Window. So that is a lot of damage coming out from Rio. And here comes the Flux relatively early. It finds everyone, and this is going to be not good.
Manages to find 3, force out the Primal. RQT's dangerously low, but we see Gordo looking to boot people around. Unfortunately,
Rock goes down, though.
Is a little too far. The Bongo is used to try to amp
That's a 5-man.
EMP is there to shut them down. The rest of Wisdom Academy, that was their lost condition. They just can't beat that. Even as Spongy Cheese is able to get the 2K, and he's
Spongy got 3?
3K, there's just no form of a recontest that you can take.
Yeah, I mean, Rock is gonna no, Rock's not gonna do it. Okay, I was about to say if Rock does it, then that'll just be a throw at that point. And now the Rio has their ultimate cycle, which is gonna be very important going into this fight. If they ever have to stack support ults, that's not gonna be too good in their favor. But TIE Fighter does have a bomb, and RQT will have his Blossom, which
can very much turn a fight here. Like especially if they catch the tanks without cooldowns, that's gonna be very difficult for Wisdom to actually win a fight with that bomb or with a bomb in play here.
Yep, they're taking the rotations, moving in. The Coalesce is able to burst through that window, and Spongy Cheese is struggling to find them. However, Sergeant Pepper's barrage is more than enough to find the people who weren't paying attention and get picked out. Honestly, that's kind of the play that you want after such a scary start.
Oh, Trigger goes down late there. Anyways, yeah, it's kind of just a die and regroup kind of situation here. Polar needs to farm up his EMP here fast in order for Rio to actually have a shot of retaking this high ground, because look at all those shield and all that damage negating ability. Like Titanic has the window here, or no, not a window, excuse me, but here comes the bomb here. It might find some, and it does find two.
Just to find out too, they just weren't positioned incorrectly. TIE Fighter understanding his condition. The Blossom gets used inside the Immortality solely to kill Titanic, while the rest of the team just disengage. But they still get the picks that matter, because look, that payload can move as far as they want, but the ultimate's being used, kill Gordo. Gag may be gone, but Rockstrap is on the high ground. He's freely just going to be able to pump in the damage with Bpoc's help. He's just going to retreat with the help of Spongy G's. No sweat in the world. They basically have lost his fight, only giving themselves time to move the payload a bit farther until Rockstrap
that's a huge kill, though.
Very stupid decisions. And yet, look at them forced to hide inside the castles like some peasants. Gordo is going to be jumping onto Spongy G's, using that bubble amazingly, but the Bongo's there to be able to pump in the damage. Soundbayer gets invested. They want to be able to overstay their welcome and pump in that damage, but Rockstrap lives. The High Noon being used, looking to kill off Gordo, manages to break him off. Rockstrap is struggling to be there, but the boop comes in. Bpoc is gone. The barrage invested. It's getting
that's a 4-man.
And the 4-man EMP is basically going to call this a victory. There's just no stall you can do, especially with the Coalescence invested. There's too much damage being pumped in. They managed to turn that slow loss into a quick victory, as this
Rock is able to recontest.
Yeah, Rox is just barely being able to recontest, but he doesn't have remech or anything to help. They do use that bomb to kind of help find anyone who's moving in, finds out Gag, while the window's being used kind of in that choke spot. The High Noon from Spongy G trying to kill as much as he can, but it's really just to help reload. And it seems that RQT is going to be picked off, and it's not looking in anyone's favor, as Titanic's really the only person who's keeping up Spongy Cheese. He's the last one who has to touch just barely, while 3 people are on the point. Uses that immortality, and the res comes out, but that's going to be their punish. Gag just can't touch fast enough.
And honestly, with Gag there, it's just honestly, if I were Gag, I probably would have swapped a loose. Actually, not never mind. You're pretty close to your Valkyrie here, and you can definitely use that to win a fight. And Rock actually did a pretty decent job of stalling. If his team were to commit ultimates better, I guess you can say, then they could have walked away with that with a very different outcome. However, now they will have to hold for 2 minutes. Gordo goes in really deep. He's gonna get punished for that.
Yep, they have to use that sound bear. Not a waste. They have to use that sound bear just to try to win this fight back, especially with the Blossom build. Unfortunately, they just didn't build it up fast enough, and they get punished. It's a bit of an unfortunate scenario, but now with this turning more into a brawl fight, I wonder how they might want to switch. That EMP is going to be massive, but they're relying on it way too heavily, and they're not building it up fast enough.
Oh, Polar goes down late there, though, but look at the ultimates on the side of Rio. They have everything needed to close it out. TIE Fighter, yeah, just jump off the map there. And so yeah, Rio basically has EMP, which is the god amongst men in terms of ultimates. And now, but they will be having to push into a blizzard, which is going to be actually, it's not going to be too tough considering the mobility on the side of Wisdom. Or excuse me, on the side of Rio. Polar's getting set up for that EMP. He's already ready in the back line. Here it comes. Here comes the bomb.
6-man combined with the bomb manages to find out too. It's still pretty much a team fight win, even if Rockstraps wants to make it uneven. The bomb really only is used there to try to recontest. It looks like he's gonna have to make a switch, especially because it's 30 seconds. The only person who's gonna be able to touch is possibly the Lucio.
And now look at they do have that High Noon still. And here comes a High Noon from Spongy, which doesn't find any value other than zoning.
The window is there, looking to push them out. Gordo's going to use the Prime Death Blossom to finish them off. The Blizzard is on point, but they don't have the rest of the team to help pump in that damage. They don't even find anyone off of it. Bpoc is also hacked, so it's really just a stall on the side of Sergeant Pepper and Rockstrap, but he's already gone. One side, the stall is looking to do their best as Gag coming back, going to be building up that sound barrier, but the target focus is pretty solid on the side of Real Redemption as they're continuing moving forward. We see Spongy Cheese looking to do his best, and then Titanic, but they almost forced it. No, they do force it into overtime, as that Shatter was a little bit too eager.
Yeah, the Shatter came out a little bit too late, but hey, honestly, if I were Wisdom, I call that a win because you had 2.5 minutes for Rio to build ultimates, and you still pushed it in with no time left on their clocks. And so if Wisdom gets over a minute here, that'll be huge for their attack because what they can do is they can just farm a quick ultimate or something, like for example, a barrage or a coalescence, and they can just play it super aggressive off of that once they actually get it. And or yeah, definitely a window. I forgot Bap window is an ultimate as well because he has 2 ultimates in the game. Please nerf Bap. Anyways, yeah, they will be rocking this Pharah comp once again. And interestingly enough, RQT will be playing the Torbjorn, which honestly it might be a good call, especially against this comp of Wisdom Academy, because Torbjorn can place his turret in a safe spot. Wisdom will have to commit resources in order to kill it, and then Rio can just use the resources that Wisdom committed in order to, I guess you can say, in order to win the fight eventually.
Yeah, and they're really not looking to win off poke. I do think Torbjorn is an amazing pick from RQT because it puts poke onto the Pharah, and if they were running a Sombra, they just had to switch off of it regardless, so it works. But they're relying on rotations and getting those picks early rather than the poke and trying to waste that time.
Yeah, and here, yeah, so the turret is set up in a very aggressive position here. It's probably going to go down relatively early here. Never mind. They're just trying to keep it alive as long as possible. And yeah, there it goes. And so now this is going to be a 10-second window for Wisdom to push here. So
yeah, they're able to pump in that damage. The anti does end up hitting their own team, so they were almost going to be able to hit a massive one, but it's a bit unfortunate. We see the rotations as they move in. The immortality is good enough to help Gordo manage to take out Titanic and Spongy Cheese, while the rest of the side of Real Redemption really don't care about being so split. The rest of Wisdom Academy are just stuck having to retreat, even if Trigger Happy's gone.
Yeah, Trigger Happy going down there relatively late is actually going to be huge for this next fight here. Wisdom or Rio might actually have to give up ticks in order to actually fully regroup here, and they're not going to get they're not speeding him back, which interesting call, I guess you can say. I mean, to be fair, he does have the Air Jordans 3 on, so he can probably just jump over the dot here. And Polar gets antied here, and he goes down right away. So this is gonna be a huge fight opening for Wisdom here.
They're messing with their angles. Rio's having a tough time trying to figure out who to focus on with their shield. But with this Nano, Bill, and Sergeant Pepper coming close on the barrage, they're going to combine them both to pump in that damage. The window being used from Triggers, looking to do as much as he can, but the Molten Core throwing it out randomly is just not enough. It's not too split enough, and it's just not going to be getting too much value, especially with Spongy Cheese being split off.
It's still very winnable for Rio.
Yeah, it is. They do kill BPOC before anything, and Polar's looking to pump in that damage, but they force out the barrage to not only kill the Meg, but pump in that damage. Now there's no recontest possible.
Actually, there might be, especially if Gordo is able to land this Shatter on Thigh, but no, Thigh lands a great sleep here.
No, it's not about the hypotheticals, it's about the theoreticals. As we see them moving in, they invest a Sound Barrier, and now they invest a Shatter onto Titanic. They're putting a lot of resources in to kill people, but look at that bomb combined with the High Noon. The High Noon from Polar's looking like he wants to trade in, but it's just not going to be getting much. They're trading in the same amount of ult. TIE Fighter is going to be building up this bomb, but gets stunned before he can throw it up. The Res comes in, but the stun man doesn't take out Gag. It was a punish. They weren't ready. Roshcraft still in the fight, and it seems that Real Redemption just barely going to be able to win that out due to their target.
Oh, that was close. That would have been a bad C9 if you were on the side of Rio. TIE Fighter and Polar both walk off point, but they just realized on the nick of time, man. This is, and look at Rio's ult economy compared to Wisdom here. Wisdom doesn't have a single ultimate charge here, but they will be their closest ultimate is probably going to be Gag's Valkyrie here, but they will have to be pushing into a bottom if they do decide to commit it.
Wisdom Academy kind of choked on that fight. They just stopped really focusing and surviving, and then that Shatter onto Thigh was amazing. Now this Molten Core kind of push allows them to start overstaying their welcome and get value. Sure, BPOC does get hit, but Gag's going for such an aggressive res, and look how he still manages to get it. It's fairly impressive. It's still not on the side of Wisdom Academy, as that Nano has to be used onto Sergeant Pepper to pump in that damage, but he doesn't have any room to play or space. The tanks are there eating up that damage.
And now they only have 30 seconds left to cap this first point, and this is and the good news is, though, they have both DPS ults to work with, The bad news is, again, Rio has a better ult economy here. Like, Polar can easily charge it, and they do find Sergeant Pepper early, so they have to waste res before the fight even starts. And that's a shatter!
Combined with the shatter is to shut it down. Only 2 ticks captured, and there is no test quite possible in this world. And see,
Rio's gonna redeem him.
Rio Redemption, bringing home
The redemption arc!
as they win it off.
They did it!
Yeah, they're gonna be able to win this off, gaining the championship of the Novice Division.
Rio freaking redemption. I can't say the middle word on stream, but Rio has went from a winless 0-11 season from their last time they were in League Zero to a championship. So, mad props to them. TIE Fighter with another huge bomb that finds to here for the play of the game. So, this was a massive, massive, massive win for Rio as an overall franchise. So, congrats to them. And Pendy, or actually, gotcha. We're gonna figure out who to interview for this final MVP, or excuse me, not the finals MVP, but for the final interview of the Novice season, and we will be picking them right after this break. Please stick around for that interview.
The last piece on Rio that was thrown in last minute. I didn't play for the whole season in all honesty.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we made it throughout an entire season, and speaking of which, we actually do have someone on Rio Redemption. This is Trigger Happy. Trigger was actually kind of thrown into the just right before the playoffs to fill in the starting flex support role.
Exactly what happened.
Exactly. And so, Trigger, congratulations on this huge win. How does it make you feel?
And it kind of puts a lot of faith because, in all honesty, I didn't get drafted in the whole thing. I wasn't even drafted at all. And after a while, Rio was remembering they had a flex support issue. So they just remembered that I was around. So they decided to take a bet with me, and I made sure that they didn't regret picking me up. I'm very proud of everyone else. Even though I was probably the one dying the first most.
Hey.
Think about it.
I mean, hey, to be fair, you already got your value before you even died. So that's totally fine if you get all your value out before you even die. So honestly, great job on that part.
In all honesty, it is great effort to the team. I'm just glad I was able to fill a role for them.
For sure.
A peg in the hole of their ship that was going to sail. We have sailed for redemption.
For sure. And
we have fulfilled the prophecy.
And real quick, was there anyone on Wisdom that you do want to shout out who was making you a little bit queasy, I guess you can say at times?
I think it was the off tank, the
Rockcraft,
the DPS, or the main tank, because for some reason they all have great focus fire. Congratulations on the focus firing on me. I just keep laughing on how much they want me dead. It's like, if I offended anyone on Wisdom Academy, I'm sorry. What did I do to you?
I don't know, man. They sought you out like a heat-seeking missile, man.
No, they really were.
I know.
And the funny thing is, I was more easily caught out as Moira.
Yeah, hey, don't worry about it. But yeah, so anyone in particular you want to shout out on your team?
I will have to say shout outs to Clear for seeing potential in me. Shout out to Ty who vouched for me. We have redeemed ourselves too from a failure of a team we both were on, a trigonometric.
We don't talk about that, okay? But
no, we should. This is a celebration for me and Ty as well.
Yeah, it absolutely is. You too.
Gordo had a lot of faith in me, and he really was vouching. He really thinks that I was energizing with him a lot. I don't know why he has so much faith in me, in all honesty. But shout out to everyone. Ty was amazing. RQT was amazing. Polar was amazing. Sammy was providing such clear instructions. He made my life so much more easier. Everyone on the team was amazing. I have to give credit to Frick as well. I know he is just a mental health coach, but he was actually a legit coach for me during the last minutes too. So shout outs to him as well. I was probably going to list off the whole org's day list. But
yeah. Honestly, well, Intel, do you have any questions for Trigger Happy here?
Nope.
I should have more often.
And last but not least, Trigger Happy. There's only one right answer to this: pineapple and pizza, yay or nay?
Nay?
Good. Okay. Thank goodness that you are a normal human being. Anyways, we did it. Thank you so much for coming out, man. You go celebrate with your team. I'm sure it's going to be a long night. I guess you can say.
I hope they're not angry with my interview.
No, you're totally good, man. Anyways,
I'll go back.
All right. For sure. See ya, man.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Anyways, y'all, we did it.
It's maxed out.
Yeah. I hang on one second. I gotcha. Here, let's go there. You're in lobby 1B.
Please. I
gotcha. Oh, you're in lobby 1B, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay. We made it. A long season is behind it. Well, I mean, not really too long, let's be honest, but we made it to the end. Intel. So it's been fun, I guess you can say. It's been a very fun ride. Yep. Were you surprised about the outcome of the whole season?
Nope, not too far out of expected, but it was fun. And honestly, League Zero Season 4 wrapping up, so it's exciting to see kind of what's next in store.
Yeah, honestly, it was honestly, I'm excited for the future of this league, especially considering that hopefully Overwatch 2 can come out in the summertime to bring back some of these players that have just, I guess you can say, left the game. And just, I guess you can say, make the league fresh again. So I am looking forward to the future of this league. Hopefully you'll see me here in the future as well. My name has been Corbs, here with my co-partner Intel. And for one last time, this has been, don't get tilted. Have a great rest of your evening. And hopefully we can see y'all in advanced.